I'm on a time crunch. Please put the thumbs up if you waited, baby. Alright, we can get the notification set off. We can get into the algorithm. There's a lot going on, like I told y'all, baby. It's a lot going on. Oh my goodness, on. Once again, baby, I don't have a lot of time tonight, but depending on how y'all feel after we get through the missing crevices of tonight, then we may, in fact, come back tomorrow and do an open, do a panel discussion and everything. So please thumbs up, you guys. Please thumbs up if you guys are coming in. All my Bush babies, all of my Replay Gang members, and all my active chatters, please hit my thumbs up for free. It don't cost you nothing, baby. It's on the 99. All right. As you guys are doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the show so we can get straight to the business. Because it's a lot going on. I was going to switch over to the old nasty people. All right, what's going on, Conscious Crew? You guys know what we're here to get into. It is a hot ass Monday, baby. The whole damn city is on fire. It is so much happening. I literally can't even keep up at this point. I have a little bit of time, so I want to come through and talk to you guys about this lawsuit that the Potter's House founder, T.D. Jakes, has filed against Duane Youngblood. Girl, things are about to get very, very interesting. Okay? Before we get started, please one of those thumbs up, as I said. Whether you are a part of the Replay Gang, whether you are a Bush baby, whether you are actively in these streets right now with me in real time, please hit that thumbs up. This is single-handedly one of the most significant things you can do on the platform is run those thumbs up, baby. All right? Also, if you're new here, subscribe. Shout out to all the new subbies. We at 50.7 and counting. Also, make sure that you guys have your notification bell set to all. And last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be your YouTube community wall, your Snapchat, your MySpace, the dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you lay the link. Just let them whores know that we're out, we're live, and we're certainly in color. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on. Where is my intro? Through. Oh,
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, what's going on, Conscious Crew? Please thumbs up to everybody. Welcome to the live chat. You guys, please thumbs up. Moderators, please encourage everybody to thumbs up the video. Please respect the moderators. You guys definitely can sound off and be free of thought in the chat. We are a open forum platform up over her. All donation links are in the description box below, and they're in the ticker as well as my email where you can send me or T. Follow me on Instagram at Consciouztv on Instagram. Spelled just how it is here on the YouTube platform. And let me go ahead and actually shout out some of my Conscious Crew members who sent in an old nasty donation from the last live. Honey, tea on top of tea tonight. Shout out to my baby mother Mocha and my baby mother Blondell for the old nasty child support check shy. All right, now you guys know we just had tea on top of tea. We just got into some things. Mr. T.D. Jakes was on the docket tonight. All right, the live chat is going to be up again after midnight. So I had to take it down, girl, because y'all wasn't supposed to hear that end part of the conversation, girl. We're going to save that for bloopers episode, okay? I was gagged, girl, when I realized we were still live, okay, girl? T was spilling on top of T, baby, all right? So, going to kindly edit that out. And once again, T on top of T will be available in a few hours. So just hold your damn horses, all right? Now, we're here to get into TD Jakes. You guys know that TD Jakes been making headlines all year for all the wrong reasons, girl. Everything started when Cassie found that old nasty piece, a lawsuit against her ex-boyfriend and disgraced Bad Boys Record CEO founder P. Diddy. All right, you guys know following her lawsuit, immediately there began to be a scourge of rumors coming out of the internet about how Cassie allegedly was working with the feds, and that there were old Kim Porter cell phones, laptops, and tablets in Cassie's possession that allegedly had freak-off party material on them. And TD Jakes allegedly was seen or cited to have been on some of these freak-off footages, okay? Matter of fact, baby, some descriptions was him dressed in a woman's apron with his Christian clappers hanging out of the back, baby. Ooh, girl, just terrifying imagery and visuals, if you ask me, baby. I could have, did without the vivid, explicit description, shy. Things got even worse because there is a relationship between the Diddler and Jakes. Apparently, Jakes has been the mentor and spiritual leader in TD Jakes' life, all right? So that didn't help, all right? Fast forward, the doctor, Larry Reid, recently interviewed a man by the name of Duane Youngblood, who basically exposed TD Jakes and made a plethora of allegations against him. Now, I have to give a disclaimer, baby. I am not the most familiar with what's going on between Duane and Youngblood. I have not even seen the interview between Dr. Reid and Duane Youngblood. So I'm going to have to do some catching up tonight, etc., girl. And, come back and get into the details of it all. But the bulk of it is that Duane made allegations, which we're also going to get to, courtesy of an old nasty NY Post article. And then we're going to also get into the details of the lawsuit. And then you guys may or may not know of Pam, the Law Esquire, okay, on YouTube. Shout out to Pam. Hey, boo. Okay, she was also live. She is a real-life attorney, bad bitch out here on these streets, okay? She also was getting into the lawsuit. So if you guys want the lawyer perspective and commentary, please go over to Pam the Esquire Law Intellect on YouTube, all right? Dr. Reid also pulled up over there doing that live reading and got into some things going on because he was communicating with Duane Youngblood as all this conversation began around the lawsuit that's been filed. Also check out, oh, it's Duane. Okay, I thought it was Duane, girl. Duane. Okay, okay, the U is got it. Thank you for that, fuzzy. Okay, you guys can go over to Larry Reid's page as well because he went live, I think, about 20 minutes before T on top of T started. So I wasn't able to catch this live either. So there's a lot going on tonight, girl. So let's go ahead and get into an old nasty piece of article, girl, just to give you guys a backstory on what Duane Youngblood had to say about the Potter's House founder. And then we're going to get into the details of the lawsuit, and then I'm gonna let you guys hear a little bit of what Dr. Reid said on Pam the Esquire's platform about what the hell is going on. All right, and please like, and share as you guys are coming in because I'm giving it, girl. I'm giving it right now, right, Fuzzy? Always, my baby mothers always have me. All right. NYPost.com says that Bishop T.D. Jakes is in stable condition a day after suffering a medical emergency during a sermon. But the mega church pastor is facing another hurdle related to sex abuse allegations. Jakes, 67 years of age, has filed a defamation lawsuit against Duane Youngblood, a fellow pastor who claimed that Jakes tried to actually assault him when he was 18 or 19 years old, the Post has learned. Youngblood made the explosive claims against the popular motivational speaker on an October 27th episode of the Larry Reid Live podcast, alleging that Jakes tried to groom him and also hugged and tried to kiss him. The young pastor and his attorney I'm gonna need my water. Do you guys see who the hell is representing Duane Youngblood. Do you guys see who the hell is representing Duane, girl? I know my eyes have to be deceiving me, bitch. I know my motherfucking eyeballs has got to be deceiving my black eyes. Hold on, baby. Let me go and get me some motherfucking water. Hold on, bitch. Hold on, girl. I'm going to need to quench my thirst tonight. Hold on. Girl, I am freaking hollering. I am freaking hollering. Girl, somebody go tell Mr. Youngblood to run, bitch. Run, girl. I don't understand. Do these people girl, not be betting these attorneys, girl? I got a whole video on this motherfucker exposing, bringing to light Gloria Allred, her greasy head, blow dried ass mammy, and Tyrone Blackburn. And just briefly, Tyrone Blackburn tried to represent Sabrina Peterson, the woman who tried to come up against T.I. and Tiny with all those essay allegations from other women. She the one who led that whole thing. She also had her own experience of violence, girl. Felt Sabrina Peterson, girl. Sabrina Peterson got all type of damn verdicts against her ass for hundreds of thousands of dollars in attorney fees, girl. T.I. and Tiny washed and rinsed Sabrina Peterson ass in court, bitch. All right. Tyrone Blackburn also is the attorney who, in my opinion, failed Jennifer Huff, the 1994 great victim of Kenneth Petty. He picked up her case against Nikki and Kenneth when they decided to allegedly harass her, gang stalk her, and try to buy her out of retracting her 1994 allegations against Kenneth Petty. There were so many legal issues with Jennifer's suits via her attorney Tyrone Blackburn against Nikki that she had to end up dropping her litigation against Nikki because her sorry ass, trifling, clout chasing ass attorney Tyrone Blackburn did not know that he was filing outside of jurisdiction, etc. Girl, it was a mess. So they dismissed the lawsuit, but with prejudice, so Jennifer can refile because of technical error. And her litigation against Kenneth Petty is pretty much stuck in a damn vacuum right now. It's on pause because Kenneth Petty refuses to sit down for a deposition. And ultimately, Tyrone Blackburn don't give a damn, okay? It is literally too many serious, notable cases that Tyrone Blackburn has been involved in that he has dropped the ball on. Not to mention that Tyrone Blackburn is sanctioned himself like a motherfucker. The courts cannot stand him. There are all type of legal issues and legal counsels that have penalized Tyrone Blackburn for one thing or another. He is pretty much a laughing stock of the legal world. So I already know this ain't gonna go well, bitch, for Mr. Youngblood. You know, when I did that live stream, I told people, I said, look, these Hollywood attorneys, you know, they may want to represent you pro bono. So that's appealing, right? And they have a laundry list of high-end celebrity clientele. But that ain't where you need to let the buck stop, baby, because you need to get into those cases and how much was done for those high-end clientele by these attorneys, because a lot of them are wash and rinse and fucking trash. Tyrone Blackburn, in my opinion, is no better and no different than bald head ass Brian Ponder, clout chasing ass, who caught himself representing the bling bling bishop who's now serving 1,000 damn years in the federal penitentiary for the 7th damn time for fraud and scheming and scamming and every damn thing else. And he represented the bishop both in his civil cases that went nowhere, got dismissed, got dropped, and in his criminal case, girl, which landed his ass with a guilty verdict, baby. So unfortunately, I already know that TD Jakes already has scored 1 on the books, girl, because of who is representing Mr. Youngblood. Nonetheless, the NY Post article goes on to say, and you guys please thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. The younger pastor and his attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, who represented Lil Rod, whose lawsuit was trash, is also a circus. They had to re-amend Little Rod's lawsuit 3-4 damn times. There were literal lies that were told in Lil Rod's lawsuit, literal debunkable lies, such as the alleged video of reality TV star and music producer Stevie J being on camera in the salacious act with another man. Come to find out, that guy that was being represented as Stevie Jakes is actually a well-known adult entertainer in the LGBT community who came out and was like, nah, my nigga, that's actually my intellectual content there. Tyrone Blackburn is known to embellish, exaggerate, and this all-out lie in order to build momentum behind cases, okay? We're talking about a lack of integrity. Jason Lee had to cuss his motherfucking ass out as well during the whole Sabrina Peterson T.I. Tiny ordeal. Those audios can be found on Hollywood Unlocked's YouTube page. Girl, just a mess, child, okay? Nonetheless, the attorney represented Lil Rod in his lawsuit against Diddy, then demanded $6 million from Jakes in order to resolve this matter quickly and privately in a November 15th legal filing. Damn, bitch, on my birthday, girl. Okay? Now, this is what's interesting. What else finna say? What else finna say, girl? Oh, Larry Reid spoke over on Pam the Law Intellect's platform about this number. Apparently, it wasn't 6 million, but I'll let you guys hear from Dr. Reid in a few, child. Youngblood said if Jakes didn't cough up the cash, that he'd sue him for actual assault and harassment. Jakes instead opted to file a defamation suit against Youngblood in Pennsylvania federal court. In their filing, Jake's attorney seemed to hint that the stress of the lawsuit might have contributed to his medical emergency on Sunday. Quote, the lawsuit is intended to bring the scheme to a halt, Jake's team wrote, to end the extreme emotional, physical, and spiritual toll defendant's conduct has called Bishop Jakes. To set the record straight so that the world understands the patent falsity of the accusations and to restore Bishop Jakes' reputation, which is in shambles. Bishop Jakes believes with all his heart that actual victims of sexual abuse should be treated with the utmost respect, kindness, empathy, and sympathy. And the true predators of such abuse should be held accountable for their actions. The filing continues. But this is not the case here. Youngblood has used and abused the might of social media and the legal process to make knowingly false accusations for his own personal and financial gain. Jake's team also pointed out that Youngblood is a I am about to throw myself against the wall. I know you fucking lying. The Post has verified and pointed out that Youngblood is a registered S3x offender in the state of Pennsylvania and is currently on parole. Girl, I don't even... Should we even bother? Should we even goddamn bother? All of a sudden, I don't feel like even being damn bothered. Let's take a little segue. Let me see if I can find this registration because this is also all public information. Duane Youngblood. Girl, I am fucking hollering. Are you? Are you serious? I think I just found a fucking article. Local pastor accused in teen S3x assault case facing new charges. So we're going to segue, y'all, and talk about this nigga who claimed to be an abuse victim of Jakes, who then is now being sued by Jakes for defamation, who also happens to be a registered ex-offender in the state of Pennsylvania. Let's talk about Duane Youngblood and his registration girl. Okay, he was very open and accountable on, baby, but not too damn accountable. Apparently, I mean, you ain't really got no choice, right? Your tea is public. I don't know how much. I don't know how much credit you get for spilling tea you ain't got no choice but to be honest about, because you are literally a registered ex-offender, baby. Like, your mugshot goes out to every community and into the local papers annually. Like, you have no choice but to be open, girl. The courts are open for you just in case you choose not to. Okay, so I don't know if I consider this to be noble. What would have been noble is him not even being involved in whatever the hell led to his ass ending up on the registry. But we about to figure out what the hell is going on with the registry tribe. All right, because courtesy of CBSNews.com, Homestead pastor Duane Youngblood waived charges of corrupting the morals of a minor to trial, but has yet to be arraigned on new charges, including involuntary, deviant sexual intercourse and indecent assault. His lawyer now says that he's cooperating with authorities. Quote, "We had a 2-hour interview yesterday with county detectives Dish and Kebler in the case in which my client outlined exactly what his relationship was with the alleged victim, what his S3x offender treatment has been like, and any motive he may have felt were the foundation for these charges being brought," said defense attorney Milton Rayford. Even so, the new charges of involuntary, deviant sexual intercourse and indecent assault were filed, and his lawyers say his client will give statements to police about those charges as well. Those specifics have yet to be revealed. In the first case, a young man who is now 21 says it happened when he sought counseling at Higher Call World Outreach Church in Homestead, and that the alleged acts began when he was just 16 years of age. But unlike the last hearing, Wayford and a writer for the website pimppreacher.com, Leonard Robinson, shook hands today. Last time, the attorney made some serious accusations, claiming the writer could be called as a witness and that Robinson had a relationship with Youngblood. But today, Rayford apologized, saying he thought Robinson was someone else. Quote, "I apologize to Mr. Robinson," Rayford said. "I did apologize to him personally a minute ago, but I want to say for the record because I mistakenly thought he was someone else last time when we had that brewish exchange with him out here on the sidewalk. I'm okay with the apology," said Robinson. "I didn't come here to start up anything. I'm just here to cover for my website, pimppreacher.com, and that's all I'm here for." Meanwhile, Youngblood has yet to be arraigned on the new charges. In 2006, Youngblood was accused of molesting a 15-year-old boy and was sentenced to 1 year of intermediate punishment and 7 years probation. He is a registered S3x offender. This is that registration. Convicted former Homestead pastor gets more jail time. Duane Youngblood. The former pastor of a Homestead church was given additional jail time Monday for violating probation when he actually abused 2 boys he was counseling. At a probation parole violation hearing, Allegheny County Common Pleas Judge David R. Cashman sentenced Duane Youngblood to 54 to 108 months in prison for violating terms Cashman set for probation on March 3rd of 2008. At the time, Cashman sentenced Youngblood, 48, of Wilkinsonburg, to a year of house arrest, and 7 years probation as part of a plea deal. On December 15, 2014, Youngblood pleaded guilty to a third-degree felony count of corruption of minors before Common Pleas Judge Jill E. Rangas. On March 10th, Rangas sentenced Youngblood to 16 to 48 months in prison for actually abusing 2 teenage boys he was counseling between 2009 and 2011. Rangas reiterated Cashman's previous order that Youngblood be registered as a lifetime SCX offender under Pennsylvania's Megan's Law. Shout out to Kenneth Petty. On Monday, Cashman ordered lifetime registration for Youngblood under terms of the Federal SCX Offender Registration and Notification Act. The 2006 law is known as the Adam Walsh Act in memory of a 6-year-old boy abducted from a Florida department store and murdered in 1981. Youngblood founded Higher Call World Outreach Ministries in his former home in Wilmerding. In 2003, Higher Call purchased a former SS Peter and Paul Church building at 1321 Milton Street in Homestead. Court records show that Allegheny County Police charged Youngblood in 2006 with actual assault, corruption of minors, and other charges. This is a whole nother boy. This is like 3 young men. In that case, he was accused of actually assaulting a 15-year-old in 2002 while counseling the boy. The teen sought counseling from Youngblood because a cousin had molested him, according to a police affidavit. Youngblood also was arrested on a corruption charge filed July 12th related to an allegation that he inappropriately touched a teen victim who is now in his 20s on about 25 different occasions while he was counseling the youth between 2009 and 2011. In August, additional charges were filed against Youngblood for actual contact he had with the second victim, age 23, who told police that he and Youngblood had actual relations on 5 or 6 occasions over a 3-week period when the victim was 17 and 18. One count was waived to court while the other was turned over to administrative closure. After Youngblood's March sentencing, defense attorney Milton E. Rayford said Youngblood officially retained the title of pastor at Higher Call, but ultimately turned the position over to someone else. Quote, "My client is very blah, 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 blah." Will, his church was on the north side of Pittsburgh at that time. Will, do you have personal understanding of this case? Because it sounds like it. I haven't been paying attention to my chat. I'm just seeing your comments. He's no victim. Back in the 90s, he tried to date me. And one day when he took me out for lunch while I was working at a bank, he took me to his church and stripped down naked in his... Will, are you freaking kidding me? I used to work in a bank downtown. He had on a Cura RL at the time. He went in his office and sat with his desk chair facing backwards. And when he turned around, he was naked. Will, are you able to click this link tonight? Would you mind? Because I am literally like brand spanking new to this whole story. I was not expecting this story to immediately go all the way left and off the rails into a whole nother goddamn multiverse, thinking that this was just about some accusations against Jake. I can call in. I don't have a call-in number. I do have a StreamYard link. If you aren't comfortable hitting the StreamYard link, you can email me at Consciouztv and give me your number there, and then I can actually call you via speakerphone if you're more comfortable with that than hitting the StreamYard link. You just tell me what you are comfortable with. I just put my email in the chat, Will, Consciouztv, spelled with the Z at the end, at Gmail. You can also, like on StreamYard, it allows you to turn the camera off. You don't have to be on camera for StreamYard. It allows you to cam down, so you do have discretion. Will, StreamYard would be more readily available. And once again, you do have the option to cam down. You don't have to be on camera, etc. I'm also going to drop the link, but you just tell me what you want to do. I did also drop my email. You can email me your phone number, and I can call you via speakerphone, and you can speak to the audience and myself that way as well. Okay, I'm just going to wait for, I never used that. Tell me what to do. Okay, so I just dropped the link, Will. So you just hit that link. StreamYard then is going to ask you permission to use your microphone so you can speak through it, and your camera. Say yes to both options, okay? Once you come in and it grants you access to my back room, it'll give you the option then to turn your camera off, okay? And then from there, I will bring you up once I see that your camera is off so that you can have a discretion, okay? So Will says he's clicking the link right now, you guys. So we have an exclusive from someone who has had personal dealings with Mr. Youngblood. I knew something told me to do the story, girl, because, you know, I had some other things to get into. Tonight, I did not plan on being here long, but I guess I'm going to have to we're going to have to deal with it tonight, baby. We're going to have to take our time because it is a lot going on. All right, so we're just waiting on Will, you guys, who is okay, so Will is in the background. I'm about to let Will up. Okay, you guys, please thumbs up the video. You guys share, please. Subscribe if you're new here. Hold on, you guys. I'm just sending out something real quick. All right, so we have Will in the background, you guys. Let me bring Will up. Hi, Will.
Hey, how you doing?
I am doing well, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, man.
So, as you can probably see here, I'm completely spooked and nervous, and I am shooketh at the multi-layers of fuckery that are transpiring in this whole ordeal. Of course, I've been seeing the TD Jakes, Duane Youngblood thing peripherally, but I haven't really even looked into it entirely. So tonight, you know, I was not expecting to be made aware of all of this. Now, some conscious crew members in the chat were saying that Duane has spoke to Dr. Reid in his interview and had addressed, I guess, his registry and his convictions around molesting, which I'm trying to curve language for YouTube's sake because they're real sensitive around language. And, you know, I haven't seen that interview either. So I got a bit of a homework to do, but I'm glad that you were here. You were sharing your story in the chat. So could you introduce yourself and kind of then tell us, you know, you can begin where you want and just please walk us through this and talk to me like I'm a dummy. Talk to me like I don't know what the hell is transpiring at all.
Well, first of all, man, I love you and your show, man. You're a great guy, and
I appreciate that.
I always like watching you, so it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Will. Last name is Callaway. I'm from the Pittsburgh area. I now live in Ohio. The story is quite simple. I was working in a bank, probably like the late late 90s. I moved to Columbus probably in about 99. So I would have to say probably about like 95, 96, 97, somewhere around there. I was working at a small bank downtown
Before
Pittsburgh,
you
and
get started, Will, could you give me your last name again?
Callaway,
Callaway. Can you spell that?
Callaway.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it up on the screen. Exclusive film. Okay, continue on.
Okay, so I was working at a very small bank in downtown Pittsburgh, and that's where I kind of met him. He was doing business downtown, as far as like depositing his checks for his church that he had on the north side at that time. And he had asked me out, and we would go out, and he would take me out maybe once or twice a week during my lunch. And
okay, so I have a question. Can you tell me how old you were and how old he was at the time?
I was born in 94. I have to say I'm about 22 or 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was born in 76.
Okay.
And we began dating and stuff like that. And he would take me to hotels and he would pay me.
He would pay you?
Yeah, yes, sir. He would. He'd pay me a couple $100.
Pay
Yes,
you for these grown adult
for sex.
Okay, I was trying to be cute, but for sex.
Yes,
okay. Okay, so Will, you about to take my brain off the roller coaster. You're about to take my brain off the coaster. Okay, really slow down. This is too much for me. Okay, so wait a minute. So why would he have to pay you if y'all also were dating? Because you said that y'all started dating, y'all
it was transactional. He wanted to show that, you know, he had money and he was willing to trick off. You know what I mean? I was young, and not saying I was unaware, but I was younger, and some guy was willing to just, you know, take me out and buy me food and buy me stuff and pay me. I mean, I was with it. Yeah.
Okay, so Duane was attempting to pretty much make you codependent upon his ability to provide you with things.
No. I mean, I was already working and everything. He was just trying to
impress you.
He was just trying to buy a date.
He was buying your time. He was treating you like a patient.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Did he ever have that formal conversation with you, or you just begin to understand that that's what was transpiring?
There was never a conversation about it. I knew that it was completely transactional. But what happened over some time, one day he'd take me out to eat, and I remember what kind of car he had. It was an Acura RL. And then one day he'd take me out to eat during my lunch break, and we went over to his church. He said he needed to go get something from the church. And when he went in his office, he immediately went behind the chair behind his desk, and the chair was turned to the back. And by the time I walked in, he turned around the desk, which had a picture of his wife on the desk that I did not know anything about. And when he turned around, he was butt-ass naked.
Okay, so was this before y'all started embarking upon sex, or this was after?
No, this was after. This is after some time had gone by.
And y'all had already been sexual?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And you had this experience of him at his office where his family portraits and pictures were of him getting and stripping himself buck bone naked in order to get it on right there in the office.
Absolutely. And even at my young age, I knew right from wrong. I knew that just wasn't cool. And then it ended. So probably about 2 or 3 days later, I used to call him from my mom's girlfriend's house. And he called my mom's girlfriend and told her that I gave him an STD, which was completely untrue.
Okay, hold on. Wait. Well, did I tell you that you're sending my brain off the fucking Richter scale? Okay, wait. Say that one more time.
Okay. After the incident, when I saw his wife I immediately cut off the situation. Within a day or two, he had called my mom's girlfriend, which I used to call him from my mom's girlfriend because I didn't want my mom and my dad to know, you know, I was in a relationship with him. So he called my mom's girlfriend and told her that I gave him the STD because I would no longer deal with him.
Oh, wait, you called to tell him that you called him?
No. After I saw the incident with his wife, I immediately cut it off right there. I told him,
Yes,
we're done. So he take me back to work, and then within a day or two, he called my mom's girlfriend. Like I said, I used to call him from her house. He called her and told her in retaliation that I gave him an STD.
So because you cut him off, he retaliated by calling your people and telling them that you infected him with an S.
And there was never any type of unprotected sex or anything. Like he didn't have nothing. If he got from somewhere else. He sure didn't get it from me. I don't know what he was doing, but it just proves that he lies.
So you also, were you out at this time, like as a open?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely open. I'm definitely open. Yeah.
Okay, so your people already had knew what your T was at the time that he called.
Yes, sir.
But he weaponized that by telling them a lie that you had given him.
Absolutely.
So
yes, sir, bro.
How did that play out between you and your people once they were informed about this?
They kind of shrugged it off. You know what I mean? I can't remember exactly how I smoothed it over, but there wasn't really too much of a fuss about anything. And then probably like a few weeks later, I was downtown and I had seen him and he tried to intimidate me.
He tried? Okay, how? Like what happened?
Like I was sitting downtown at a cafe and like he walked past me and like he literally like shot arrows. You know what I mean? He just literally just looking at me. He didn't say anything. He just stared at me.
And this was after the whole STI rumor thing.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So what happens after that?
That was it.
I
never heard from him or seen him again. Like I said, I moved away to Columbus, Ohio in 1999. And I was aware of, the sexual abuse things that he did because I was dating a man who was a pastor as well. And he used to go to Pittsburgh because they had some type of joint conferences. And then he had mentioned that he had knew Duane Youngblood. And I was like, okay, I know this guy. He's a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Excuse my language. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's a cussing ministry over here. This is a cussing ministry.
I'm sorry. Okay. And I explained all the things about him. And then I found out that he was locked up for a while. And, then fast forward to a few weeks ago, I see him like coming forward with this TD Jakes stuff. I'm like, this man is nobody's victim. Like nobody. Like he knows exactly what he's doing. And he's a very conniving person. And he's capable of doing anything just from the little interaction that we had over the short period of time back in the 90s. Like he's full of crap.
Oh my, okay. Wow. Okay. So you didn't even find out about all of his baggage legally until after y'all's whole dealings had.
Oh yeah. This is like, I found out about him going to jail and being locked up for all this sexual stuff. Like after I moved to Columbus, Ohio, this is like a few years ago.
What did you think upon hearing all of this and becoming aware of all of that?
I was shocked. I mean, I knew he was a hoe and a cheater and stuff, but I didn't think that he would do all the unspeakable things that he did with actual children. I didn't know his background or his church or anything like that. Like I said, the only thing I knew was just the transactional stuff that we did way back in the 90s. Like,
Because then he was a down low man cheating on his wife.
Yeah.
And being transactional, paying young men to date him, to have sex with him.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta ask you some questions here, some poignant questions here, Will.
Yeah.
Can two things be true at once? I know, obviously, according to his charges, his registry, that he has definitely been the villain, do you believe that he also can be a victim as well? That two things can be true at the same time.
I mean, those things, yes, those things could be possibly intertwined.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not the person there to see exactly what transpired in his life to make him be the way that he is. But just because, you know, a lot of people are molested, but they don't turn into the molester. You know what I mean? And then the stories that I heard him saying on the Larry Reid show, like, it sounded just like he was trying to clean everything up to make himself look better when he just sounds like a complete villain, just a nasty type of person.
I am floored right now. And obviously all these things are alleged.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They are the personal experiences of Will Callaway, who is giving his personal account of Duane Youngblood, who right now is being sued by Potter's House pastor T.D. Jakes, who he accused of being sexually inappropriate with him and a plethora of other things. Okay, so then stepping into the T.D. Jakes situation, with you knowing what you know and based upon your experiences of Mr. Youngblood, what do you believe all of this Jakes Youngblood stuff is?
I don't know. I think honestly, like, I think he's in it for a cash grab because he's not working anywhere. All you have to do is Google his name. You know, like, he's basically unemployable. When I did look, I looked him up. I looked him up on YouTube, and he had a channel which by the way, I looked for today, and I couldn't find it. And he was doing just like financial advisory type things. You know what I mean? He had a channel on YouTube where he was doing financial stuff, but he's basically unemployable. Like, Pittsburgh is a big town, but it's small, so everyone knows everyone. He's staying like in some part of the sticks called Wilmerding. It's like a little town outside of Pittsburgh. But even then, like, even in a little town like that, everyone knows him. So he's basically unemployable. And no church is going to ever take him back again. So I'm not sure exactly what he's doing for a living as far as a job or something, but it sounds like a cash grab.
Yeah, because I don't even know what type of jobs really are available to registered S3x offenders.
Well, there are jobs available in sex. You can still get a job as a sex offender. I worked one of the jobs I had here in Ohio. I was working as a plastics engineer, making plastics for window companies, and a large majority of the people that I worked with were sex offenders. So it's not that you can't get a job. You know, it's about being exposed, because once you start working at a place, people can easily find out that you're an offender. And he's what I would say, he's high profile because of his preacher status and, you know, everything that he's done in Pittsburgh. So everyone already knows him for the preacher stuff. So, and on top of that, now you're a sex offender. You've been all on the news. You've been, your pictures, all you gotta do is put Duane Youngblood in Google and hit images. That's it.
You finna make me do just that right now. I'm about to do that right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you know, a lot of what's on Google right now is the stuff connected to Jakes.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that's trending at the moment. But I mean, his past is definitely there in broad daylight.
Yeah,
for sure. Because all I had to do was type in registered, and everything just came up. This is very, very, very. I have a headache, Will. I'm not gonna lie. I have a headache. I don't even.
So I'm trying to figure out, what are you going to do in Pittsburgh? What are you going to do in Pittsburgh? You're known in the Black church community, so everyone's buzzing about you. People been buzzing about you for years, and now he brought all this undue necessary attention to him when he could just shut the fuck up. Like, bro, no one was really no one cared, but no one, even though they know of you, you weren't known on like YouTube. You weren't known on like, the internet. Like, you could have just sat there and ate your cake and went about your business. Like, then I watched this video a couple weeks ago. I'm like, you're out here talking about some TD Jakes tried to kiss you across. I mean, at least make it more better, like a kiss, bro. And that's like what you're literally like going online talking to someone about, like, he tried to kiss you. Like, you could have made it like so much better, so much juicier.
Now that you've said that, Will, compared to the explicit allegations against him by multiple young men who trusted his counseling, his spiritual integrity, like, comparatively speaking, it seems like a reach.
Comparatively speaking, like a kiss, bro, a kiss.
He tried to kiss you. What does try to?
Right after I think after like some type of church that's what it was. There was some type of church service, and he was staying at some woman's house who, was at the church, and TD Jakes was staying there at the house, and like he went over the house, and they're sitting across the. This is where I'm thinking. I'm at like 90% of what they said. He was sitting across the table from him, and like he tried to kiss him. Like,
okay, because see, I have not listened. I haven't heard the interview yet, so that's what he was alleging when he spoke to Dr. Reid.
He was at a church somewhere in Pittsburgh. TD Jakes was, and one of the members of the church let TD stay in her house, which I find weird. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but you would think TD would stay in like a hotel or something. But I'm not disputing that. More than likely, he probably did stay at this woman's house or whatever. Or more than likely, Youngblood was there. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
because here's the thing, Will. I've also spoken to young men who have alleged to have been a part of Jake's alleged harem.
Yeah.
If Jakes also has a proclivity toward the same sex, does that make Duane's allegations more substantial? If Jakes, in fact, also is
just because you like the same gender, liking the same gender and liking underage people of the same gender are two totally different things. And I know by looking at your beautiful face that you're also intelligent as well.
Okay, so my question, because like I said, I don't know shit about what's going on with Duane and his accusation. So Duane is alleging that he was underage too at the time that Jakes was attempting.
I don't think he was underage. I'm thinking more like he was. I can't remember the interview, but I don't think he was like a teenager, or I'm thinking he was like in his early 20s or something like that. He was
an adult.
Yeah, okay, he was definitely an adult.
Can y'all confirm that Duane was an adult when he alleged that Jakes was attempting to come on to him? I guess.
I mean, I can't confirm that. I like skimmed over the interview, but from what I remember, without slandering or making up anything, I don't think this man was underage. I don't think he was, because Duane is older than myself. I'm 47, and he has to be at least 5, maybe 10 years. Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. It went out for a second. I apologize. Yeah, he has to be at least 5 to 10 years older than myself. And TD's been around for what, 30, 40 years. So if TD's been around for 40 years and I'm 47, say it's happened like 40 years ago, I'd be 7. So, and Duane's older than me. So let's say Duane's 10 years older than me, that make him 17, which would make him consentable. You just have to go to the interview to find out exactly, because I'm not exactly sure, but from what I remember, he was not like some type of child when this happened.
People in the chat are saying that he was 18 to 19. but was it legal adult?
That's
18, 19?
that's what's up. That's what's up. That's what I'm saying. He wasn't like some young kid, you know. And like I said, he's brought all this undue attention to him when no one asked him to take his plate to the dishwasher. He should have sat there and kept on eating. No one said take your dish to the dishwasher and wash your dish. No one said that. And now he's bringing all this undue attention to him, and he's bringing all this attention back to him in Pittsburgh, even though it's a big city, it's a small city. So now everything's happening all over again. Like, why would you do that?
This is about to get really nasty, Will.
I'm
because
thinking
they're going to be, because there are people who can obviously speak to Will's alleged bad behavior and his character, which is obviously very questionable under the circumstances, considering his registration. And then you have these allegations against Jake by multiple individuals as well. I mean, this just gives me shit show 2.0.
I'm thinking this is his way to make himself sound like someone else victimized me, and that's how I became the victimizer. And
okay, because if he was 18 or 19, then obviously his experiences happened even before you. And you're saying that he tried.
Can you hold for literally 10 seconds? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
just 10 seconds. I'll be right back. Just 10 seconds.
Okay, I'm sorry. You do that. Thumbs up, you guys. I'm on a wild ride here, child. Like, something literally kept banging at my door. Like, CTV, no, do this commentary tonight. Do it 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 tonight. I followed my damn spirit down. We here tonight. Shit show. Fuzzy, I dropped the link because
I'm back.
Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, so I'm just clueless. It just sounds like it's a cash grab. It's some type of grab. Like, you know, it's just like with the whole Diddy situation. There are lots of people who are climbing on board that have not been abused by this man, but they're just jumping on board just to add themselves to the situation, just to see if they can get some cash involved. And in this situation, it sounds like that's what Duane is doing.
Okay, so Alexa says that Duane said he was 17 when Jake supposedly propositioned him on the live with Larry.
Okay.
So he was 17. You know, this is very...
It's a fine line. It's a fine line, Conscious. I mean, 16, 17, depending on the state, you can be consentable. But we're talking about a kiss here. A kiss, bro. Not sexual contact, not oral sex, nothing like that. Like someone tried to kiss you.
A grown man has no business kissing on anybody who's not their child.
Absolutely.
And anybody who they don't have consent from to kiss.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I mean, do you consider this, Will, that with Duane being an alleged perpetrator and predator himself, that actually he would be able to point out and discern another perp because he himself has a similar nature, kind of like a take one to know one?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah, I mean, but just the level of the things that Duane has done, like he literally was counseling people's children at church, you know what I mean? And he was preying upon these people mercilessly. You know, like that shows your character, not like, you know, I might have molested someone, you know, and I was abused, so I became an abuser. Like, no, you were methodically using your church as a front to have sex with kids.
Because here's my issue, right? To that point, I have no respect for that attitude that because I was abused, I'm going to abuse. Like, because what the abusers are attempting to insert is that they have no control over their impulses. And they have no control over their fantasies.
Right.
And they have no control. Uh-oh, you got some bad feedback, Will.
Okay, am I good now?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You're good. Yeah. It's a very manipulative tactic to take away accountability, because even if you were abused and you've been abused multiple times by various individuals, you still have control over your impulses. You have control over your fantasies. It's not like you have to act upon your desires. That's not a thing for a developed adult, even one who has been traumatized. And we know that abusers know what they're doing is wrong because they hide what they're doing. It's not like you're doing what you're doing in front of people's mamas and in broad daylight, and you're doing what you're doing in front of the congregation. So you know damn well what you are doing is in fact wrong. So I do not buy into the reverse Uno psychology that, oh, because I was abused, then you know, I became an abuser. No, you did not have to. Yeah, you don't have to become. You don't have to act on abusing anyone. You do have free will.
That's why I don't buy into his stuff at all. Like he methodically and intuitively thought about picking me up at a bank, taking me out to eat, and cheating on his wife. And then in retaliation for me not wanting to be around him anymore, he does the manipulation and the lies, which carry over into 2024. So he does the same thing in the mid-90s, and then 20 years later, you're carrying on the same characteristics and traits. So somebody like me can come on here and just knock your whole victim theory just out the park because you're full of shit, bro. You're a smart guy.
Yeah, because how much excuse do you get because you were abused? That's also why you cheated on your wife allegedly, because you were abused.
And she's still with him, from what I heard.
Huh?
She's still with him, from what I heard.
Oh, that is too expensive for my red blood. She's still with him.
He went to jail. He went to jail for more than a decade. And this fish stood by him for 10 plus years while he was in jail. Yeah. And if you look up Duane Youngblood on Google, if you scroll down to like half the page, you'll see a picture of him and her together. She doesn't look like a dummy. I mean, but looks are deceiving.
Duane Youngblood's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. She's definitely giving me
She giving beer.
Like she can make some mean homemade syrup.
Right.
She can make waffles with her. She can make a waffles and wine with her feet. It's definitely giving me every bit of all of that. Definitely giving me a great aunt, ain't your mama?
Yeah,
for sure. Wow.
No, that's not her.
Oh,
that's not her.
I'm sorry, Granny.
Just Google Duane Youngblood like you did before. Put Duane, and then scroll down to like half the page. You'll see a picture of him and her together.
Okay, what does she look like so that I know which woman out of the multitude of women he done? Is she black? Is she white? Like, what is
she's a dark-skinned black woman just like him. If you I mean, today I Googled Duane Youngblood and like I scrolled down
images, I don't see anything. I only see that image of him and other lady that I posted on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not here on my end. So maybe if you get a chance, you can send that to me afterwards if you get a chance.
I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so pause right there, Will. I'm glad you're here.
Yes,
and once again, I just have to say, for my sake, all things said here are allegedly.
Absolutely.
Fuzzy, welcome to the platform.
Hey.
Hey, boo. So yeah,
I was down in the chat saying that he was between 18 and 19. Obviously, I wasn't there, but where I got that information was from Larry. I was on Larry's live earlier, and he initially said that he was like 18, 19, because I remember thinking, oh, okay, so he wasn't underage, inappropriate behavior for a pastor nonetheless, but he wasn't underage, right? And then on the second interview, it looks like he's trying to say, oh, no, I was younger. I may have been 16, 17. So that's where the two ages are coming in at.
Yeah.
And I, like you, take offense to, oh, it happened to me, therefore I became an abuser. So because there's kind of that undertone that's what this lawsuit is about, when I think it's more about what Will said earlier. It's a money grab because he's unemployable. No one who's gonna stand next to this man. You know, he sees what's going on and was like, okay, I have a chance to get some money. This man literally was calling and talking to Larry from jail. He had a plan. You know what I mean? Like,
wait,
yeah.
What do you mean? Hold on. Who called who from jail?
Larry said that he recorded his call the first time Duane reached out for him. He was in jail. And I said,
so that means that he must have went back for a violation of his
probation.
Because I'm unaware. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I'm gonna
have to call Larry at some point. I'm gonna have to call Larry in the morning. He probably sleep by now, but
yeah. Well, that one was on Pam's Live. That portion, you know, the first time, because you know, we half the chat on Pam's Live was talking about some people were accusing Larry of being in on it, that type of thing. And Larry's like, okay, first of all, I am the clout. Like be for real.
Right.
And so
in on what though? In on what exactly? In on
like Larry put Duane up to accusing. Yeah. Okay. As if Larry has it in for Jakes, when Larry is clearly looking at it from both sides. You know what I mean?
Right.
If Larry were to be hired as a consultant for Jakes, I do think that would be a great thing, because Larry knows what goes down on these internet streets, not just YouTube, but all over the place. He knows what goes down and how to zig and zag. And it's Larry's opinion that this was not a smart thing for Jakes to do, being that there are other people that also have claims. You know what I mean?
Right.
But what was
now I'm going to say allegedly because I'm bringing information from other platforms over here to platforms. So I'll just say allegedly, but that's what I'm understanding.
But here's my question though, because the article said that there was, I guess that Duane had a lawsuit drawn up and was attempting to get Jakes to pay him out beforehand. So if Duane was coming for for Jakes, and Jakes, you know, was not about to pay him out $6 million or however much it was that he was asking for, should Jakes have just sat there like a sitting duck waiting for
$6 million for a kiss, though?
Officially, or because it sounded like Jakes didn't really op Duane ass, because he's like, okay, you trying to pigeonhole me, extort me, whatever he want to call it, privately. I'm going to unload your extendo clip by filing against your black ass, and then I can be in control of the narrative, because I'm establishing that you're lying and defaming and extorting me.
Right.
And given his
$6 million for a kiss, $6 million for a kiss, though, like that's preposterous.
Exactly. And then Larry said that he spoke to him since this news broke, and he said he don't know nothing about that. Like, so it sounds to me like.
But we also know that Duane isn't the most integral person. So could he be lying to Larry?
He could be.
Absolutely.
Sounds to me because
Duane is the one who got all these mugshots. He's the one who got all these charges for being unintegral and luring young men into his counseling and ministry to abuse them, etc. So could he have been lying to Larry?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Larry like the top of some form, but did not send Larry the entire thing. So that's highly suspect, because Larry said, oh, I didn't get to read everything, but I saw the top of whatever form, because he's claiming that the $6 million, he doesn't know where that amount came from.
But if Jakes put, okay, because I haven't even, because we're going to go through the lawsuit too. So is the 6 million listed in the lawsuit? Because I know it's listed in the article, but is it
It's not
in the
listed in the lawsuit. It's in that article. From my understanding. And Pam, I don't, because you know Pam, she reads the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't recall her reading that 6 million. That 6 million came up after Larry was up there with her, and it's from the article. Pam didn't read the article, so.
And did she read the same? Okay, she didn't read the New York Post. She
no.
did. Okay.
She read the lawsuit.
Well, let me scrummage through this lawsuit again because I want to see if it's trying to quote. Okay, because the article says Jakes filed a defamation lawsuit against Duane Youngblood, a fellow pastor who claimed that Jakes tried to actually assault him when he was 18 or 19. The Post has learned Youngblood made the explosive claims, of course, on October 27th on Larry Reid Live's podcast. Duane and his attorney, Tyrone Sorry-Ass Blackburn, who represented Lil Rod in his lawsuit against Diddy, then demanded $6 million from Jakes in order to resolve this matter quickly and privately. Now, they have this in quotations as if they are quoting this directly from the lawsuit. Now, we are going to read the lawsuit, so I'll also be mindful of looking for the $6 million situation. So I'm curious to know, too, where the NY Post got this from, if it's not, in fact, in the filing.
Right. I wonder.
Okay.
I don't recall it, but yeah,
okay.
I'm open. So now that we're more cognizant of it, perhaps it is in there, but I don't recall it.
We about to read the fuck out of it. Will, I'm gonna drop the link for you, sir. I don't know where you went. The link is for Will, you guys. So Fuzzy, while you up here, what are your thoughts, I guess, like about how are you making sense? This is too fucking much.
Yeah, this is a lot.
Like,
this is a lot. Like my blood and balling, just thinking about, I was a kid in the church and I can't imagine this type of stuff going on, man. It's like, it's so heartbreaking and so scary. I raised my child in the church up until a certain age. We ain't up in that mug no more, but to think that, God forbid, if anything had happened to him, I made it through, but if anything had happened to him, like, how would I feel? And it just seems so rampant because it's like case after case after case. It's disheartening. That's how I feel. But I do think if Jake is going to pull the clip on anybody, it would be this dude, because he is so discreditable. Like, I already don't like him. Because
you don't like Duane.
I don't like Duane at all, because
what are you reading from him?
Because Duane was an adult, and listen, it's alleged that Jakes was messing with children. It's a fact that Duane was. Duane has been tried and convicted. You know what I mean? He has real victims.
Yeah.
So already, I don't like him. I don't want him to win. Like, even if Jakes is guilty of having kissed him at 18, nowhere is that illegal, except that it would have been forced. It's not like he would have been underage. You know what I mean? So that
like it's a moral. It's a moral more than anything.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, the last thing I was going to say, the fact that he is 18. At 18, if someone makes advances that you won't, you say no and you roll out. Like, you just never see the person again. You don't put yourself in a position to be around them again like that if they're making you uncomfortable, especially if it's someone of power. You know what I mean? And I'm saying that, God forbid if there's any victims in the chat, I'm not trying to victim blame, but what I am saying is, he is not the victim that he's trying to portray to be, like someone young, underage, can't get away. You know what I mean? At 18, he could drive away. He could walk away. He could beat that mug up. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of things he could do at 18 that a 12-year-old can't do, So I'm just saying, and then the fact that nothing else ever happened. From what he is saying, there was a conversation that happened after that, but he never alleged in these documents that anything else, physically, sexually, or any type of inappropriate behavior happened. There was a conversation and an inappropriate kiss. Okay.
Right. And you want
$6 so it was an actual kiss, or was it an alleged attempt to kiss? Because I keep seeing
an attempt
to kiss, I keep seeing.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right, because it sounds like at 18 he had savvy enough to duck and dodge. I don't want that. Like, man, what
So
you
wait.
doing? Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. So let's get to this lawsuit. Do you guys want to stay up here while we read this lawsuit so you guys
I'm
can
gonna
go?
fall down. If need be, I'll come back because I love to be in the
Okay.
chat.
Okay.
And
Thank you so much, Will, for
yeah,
coming up.
I'll just stay on silent.
Okay. Thank you so much, Will. All right,
Thank
Fuzzy.
you so much. I'm right here.
Okay, but all right. So Will's going to stay with me, and we're going to just go ahead and get into this lawsuit, man. This is one hell of a unveiling. This is a lot going on. All right. Let's get into the lawsuit. Let me take down this banner super quick so we can see everything. All right. The United States District Court of the Western District of Pennsylvania, Bishop Thomas Dexter Jakes, TD that is, for his complaint against defendant Duane Youngblood, and does 1 through 10. The lawsuit sounds in the tort of defamation and civil conspiracy to commit defamation. The underlying story in this case depicts a carefully planned effort by a convicted criminal and those acting in concert with him to rewrite history in order to deflect blame and accountability for his own reprehensible and criminal conduct and to publicly smear a renowned and eminently respected religious leader in a blatant and explicit attempt to extort him for millions of dollars. The lawsuit intended to bring that scheme to a halt to end the extreme emotional, physical, and spiritual toll defendant's conduct has caused Bishop Jakes to set the record straight so that the world understands the patent falsity of the accusations and to restore Bishop Jakes. Okay, so here it is. Now, in my opinion, Will, in chat, we know why Jakes okay. Will done got knocked the hell out. We know why Jakes passed out. This is a lawsuit, you guys. So Jakes has to build a case for emotional distress. He has to occur medical costs. He has to occur counseling if need be, etc. Since Duane Youngblood allegedly sent a demand letter to Jakes attempting to cipher out this alleged $6 million from him on what Jakes is considering, I guess, to be bogus and untrue claims, and Jakes has every intent on winning. Yes, he wants those punitive damages, baby, to look real good. He needs his mental health to be under duress, even if he's not. You got to perform this type of shit. We saw this in Cardi B case. Cardi B had to make her damages real. Okay, so she had to go to therapy over what Trasha K and Star Brim Mexican peso ass Gangsta Boo was doing to her and smearing her name about, etc. So this is why it's all convenient. Okay, I ain't even mad at Jakes, right? Because this is typical lawsuit protocol, baby. Okay, if you're going for damages, you're going for pain and suffering, you got to show that you were in pain and motherfucking suffering. So yes, he's stacking on those medical bills, baby, as a result of this alleged shakedown by Duane Youngblood. It's making sense now. Okay, the lawsuit goes on and says it is intended to bring that scheme to a halt to end the extreme emotional, physical, and spiritual toll defendant's conduct has caused Bishop Jakes, to set the record straight so that the world understands the patent falsity of the accusations and to restore Bishop Jakes' reputation. Plaintiff Bishop T.D. Jakes is a world-renowned spiritual leader, global philanthropist. Okay, we already know all this. Defendant Duane Youngblood is a registered S3x offender in the state of Pennsylvania. Why is that funny, Will?
I mean, because they set up TD Jakes, all nice and everything, and then they literally just threw
Duane into Duane Youngblood's motherfucking ass.
They went right for the jugular, and I
spill all his damn tea on a federal level.
All right, I'm back to going quiet.
All right. Defendant Duane Youngblood is a registered S3x offender in the state of Pennsylvania and a 2-time convicted felon related to sexual abuse of children. He is a U.S. citizen and a resident of Pittsburgh, PA. On information and belief that plaintiff alleges that defendants does 1 through 10 inclusive are other parties not yet identified who have acted in concert an agreement with Youngblood in order to commit defamatory conduct against plaintiff and have committed acts in the furtherance of such wrongdoing. I guess we can obviously assume that this unidentified person more than likely is Larry, who they are saying in concert with Youngblood. The true names, rather corporate individual or otherwise of does 1 through 10 is inclusive or presently not fully known to plaintiff, which therefore sues, says defendants by such fictitious names, and will seek leave to amend this complaint to show their true names and capacities when same has been ascertained. Oh, so this could get very interesting. On information and belief, plaintiff alleges that all times relevant hereto, each of the defendants acted in concert and agreement with each other for the objective of intentionally committing defamatory acts against plaintiff with full knowledge of all the facts and circumstances, including but not limited to full knowledge of the violative conduct at issue and the damages to plaintiff caused thereby. The court has subjected matter jurisdiction over the action pursuant to because there is complete diversity of citizenship amongst the parties and the amount in controversy exceeds 75 big ones, excluding interest. Wow. For the interest part. The court has personal jurisdiction over defendant Duane Youngblood because he is a citizen of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and resides in Allegheny County. Venue is proper in this district because defendants resides in this district. Okay, let's get to the factual allegations. Bishop Jakes is the visionary, charismatic, and devoted senior pastor of the Potter's House Church in Dallas, Texas, which is a global outreach congregation exceeding 80,000 persons, a motivational speaker, blah, 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 girl. He is blessed. We got it. From his humble roots as the pastor for for his countless contributions all over the world, Bishop Jakes has married his wife, Sarita, for over 35. I like to call her Bernardina Jakes, okay? Throughout his more than 40 years in the ministry, Bishop Jakes has maintained a stellar reputation for his faith. I guess they're going to exclude 2024. Morals, ethics, and above all, devotion to his family and the local and global communities he has built all over the world. In stark contrast, we about to lay into Duane Youngblood's ass in the lawsuit, is registered as a lifetime S3x offender in the state of Pennsylvania and is currently under supervision by the state's Department of Parole with parole number 590J. Baby, they gave this man parole number and all. Youngblood has repeatedly and uncontrollably sexually assaulted young children since at least 2002, as we read earlier. On all occasions, Youngblood has pleaded guilty and admitted to his heinous crimes. In 2006, at the time pastor of a church in Homestead, Youngblood was first arrested on charges of sexual assault and corruption of minors and other charges. In that case, he was accused of actually assaulting a 15-year-old in 2002 while counseling the boy. The teen sought counseling from Youngblood because a cousin had molested him. This young man was already violated and came to Youngblood to get counseling about his SA trauma to only be preyed upon again. My God, today. As part of a plea deal, Youngblood, well, I see why Fuzzy says she don't fuck with Youngblood. She don't give a fuck what the T is. She ain't team Youngblood. As part of a plea deal, Youngblood was sentenced to a year of house arrest and 7 years of probation. Part of the plea deal prohibited Youngblood from counseling children. Despite this conviction, Youngblood was unsatisfied. In 2014, Youngblood was charged with inappropriately touching 2 teen victims in one instance on or about 25 occasions while he was counseling the youth between 09 and 11. With respect to that victim, counseling sessions in Youngblood's church office began when the victim was 16 years old and ended when the victim was 18, at which the victim told Youngblood he no longer wanted to participate in counseling according to the criminal complaint. And another, Youngblood had sexual relations with the youth over a 3-week period. Youngblood pled guilty and was sentenced to 16 to 48 months in prison in 2015 and 3 years of probation. Nevertheless, while on parole, Youngblood conspires with others to harm and profit from attacks on prominent Black religious. Oh, they definitely talking about Dr. Larry Reid. Black religious figures, including Bishop Jakes, as more fully elaborated herein below. On October 28th, oh, here come Larry Reid's name, of 2024, Youngblood sat for an over 2-hour-long interview on Larry Reid Live, on online video podcast hosted by Larry Reid that boasts of having over 150,000 subscribers on YouTube alone. The October 28th episode of LRL was broadcast live to tens of thousands of online viewers on the Larry Reid Live YouTube and Facebook accounts. The episode was titled Larry Reid Live Interviews Duane Youngblood, The Abused Became the abuser. Youngblood began his interview by misleading viewers about the circumstances of his convictions and incarcerations. Youngblood lied to LR's viewers about the circumstances of his 2015 conviction, claiming that it was only because he was communicating with minors when he was not allowed to. The actual truth, which Youngblood concealed from the LRL audience, was that he violated his parole not because he had simply communicated with minors when he was not allowed to, but rather because he had been caught inappropriately touching 2 teen victims during the counseling session between 2009 and 2011, and of engaging in sexual abuse over a 3-week period with a teenage victim. The interview later turned to Youngblood's new claim about how the source of his becoming an abuser was his own abuse at the hands of pastors and religious figures he encountered in his youth. After detailing instances of his own father actually abusing his sister and of his abuse at the hands of other church leaders, Youngblood turned his eye on Bishop Jakes. From the moment Youngblood brought up his allegations about Bishop Jakes, roughly an hour into the interview, he and Mr. Reid spent almost the entirety of the rest of the interview on Bishop Jakes and Youngblood's claim that Bishop Jakes tried to groom and actually abuse him. Youngblood's story about Bishop Jakes on October 28th episode of LRL was that when the now 58-year-old Youngblood was 18 or 19 years of age, Bishop Jakes, after talking to Youngblood for 2 hours at the home of an elder clergy woman, Bishop Jakes was staying while supporting a local church's revival program, wrapped his arms around Youngblood and tried to kiss him. Quote, "After sitting there and having this long discourse with him, I finally looked at my watch and I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to go. I got to get this car back to my mother. She's going to kill me. So I said to Bishop, I got to get up. And I got up from the table. He got up from the table. He walked around the table. I had to exit quicker than I got over there. And when I started to walk past him, he pulled me to himself, wrapped his arms around me, and tried to kiss me. And in that moment, I literally died." Next. What? What? What?
I mean,
Speak, brother.
bullshit.
You're calling bullshit. And
That's
so
it.
TD Jakes and his attorneys, they're all calling bullshit.
Just bullshit. That's all I got.
I wonder if Youngblood is going to be able to conjure up any witnesses from this night at this clergyman's home who
No,
can
more than likely not, Conscious, because he said that it was a woman, like a woman member of the church, and it was her house only, and she was like someone who lived alone. So if there's a witness, she would be it. That would be the only one.
and she probably deceased by now, since
More than likely,
she was
so,
already
yeah.
elderly, and he
Right.
was 18, 19 allegedly
Right.
at the time.
Right. So
And you
he's
think that might be convenient. That might be a convenient set of circumstances to make
I
sure
don't-
that any
I don't
victim
think it's
that was
convenient.
there, I mean, to make sure that any witness was there was too old to be alive today.
I
And
don't think that's convenient at all. I think it's more of a detriment to him if this does go to court. The fact that he only had one person who could verify the story and this person is dead is more detrimental to him than assisting him more than anything.
So they're saying that Jakes was a traveling evangelist. Then they still board at people's houses.
I got you. Okay. Yeah. Which explains why he was at the member's house.
The member's
What-
house.
The only person there who's now dead. So
All
yeah,
right.
you're up shit creek.
Okay, so back to lawsuit. Next, according to Youngblood, Bishop Jakes called Youngblood the following morning. In the morning, I step into our bathroom and my home phone rings. My mother answers the phone and she says to me, "Duane, it's Elder Jakes." Jakes and I get on the phone, and I get on that telephone. I can hear water. He is sitting in a bathtub, and in that he says to me without any hesitation, quote, "There's 3 things I need you to do. The first one is when I come to Pittsburgh, you're going to be the only person I sleep with. The second one is you can't sleep with anybody else because I don't want to give my wife anything. And thirdly, I will take care of you the rest of your life."
Bullshit.
That escalated very quickly.
Yes, sir.
Why would Jakes have been okay? So not because I'm just going to let my critical analytical mind get carried away here, like, you know, and upon information and all of that, and just study and what I get, I'm willing to readjust my perception based upon information. But right now, just looking at face value, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because if Jakes had been rejected by him the night before, why would Jakes have so confidently caught this young man at his mom's house out of all places and risk this extreme proposition to him while he's in the presence of his mother and after he had just been rejected? And he's going to call you at your mom's house and say, "You're going to sleep with me. You're going to be the only person sleeping with me, and I'm going to take care of you for the rest of your life." That is very incongruent, unless Jakes is a psychopath.
Right. And you know, bullshit.
That doesn't
Nothing. The math isn't mathing. The pluses and minuses aren't pluses and minuses. The story already sounds outlandish, and the story's outlandish without even a bunch of salacious details. Like, we're talking about a kiss here. You're talking about you want $6 million for that, and you're not even giving salacious details. Like, if you're a liar, which I already know you are, you could expound it more on the story. You could have added some juicy details. You know, the story is outlandish without even having outlandish details. Outlandish details.
A Lunar says that because church folks protected the preacher. I mean, we know that definitely that does happen as well, especially when it comes to religiosity, when it comes to the idea of cults. We know that the pastor is able to extract the wives of the other male members. They are even able to get into these marital unions with underage girls within the ministry per the permission of the parents. So, you know, I'm not going to say that it's not possible. I mean, but is there anyone else coming out of Jake's camp that is claiming that his earlier ministry was equivalent to a cult? Because I'm going to assume that there are other people, once again, who can corroborate if this was that at that time. If this was some perverse ministry or some perverse community under the guise of ministry that was trafficking humans and young people, that at this point, we're talking about what, 30, 40 years later, that we can expect there are going to be other people to probably fall out of the windows to come forward to say, yes, this happened to me. Things similar to this was going on at the church, or people who are going to corroborate that. So what do you think about that side of it too, Will, that this does happen in religious communities?
I understand that, but just going by his track record, knowing the way that he dealt with me, the man literally he was literally reptilian. He was a snake. Like, when just the way he looked at you was very snake-like, very devious, very untrusting. And this was supposed to be a man of God, you know. So he makes it hard to buy. And then if you haven't had any interaction with him, and then the only interaction you had with him would be on like Larry Reid's Live, and then he tries to smooth everything over, he just sounds like a con artist. And then to add layer on top of that, if someone does know him personally, and then they hear the live with him and Larry Reid, it's just like it's 2 layers of crap lay up on top of crap.
Yeah,
you know, it's not viable. It's not buying.
Yeah, because even with Rumors and Tea saying that it has been preachers that tried me multiple times. I rejected them. It was extremely frustrating because if I wanted to engage, I would have, but that's not my experience. Right. And that's, but see, we're not only talking about a pastor who, you know, was relentlessly pursuing another person. We're talking about a pastor who was pursuing another member of the same sex, which was not very popular when Mr. Duane would have been 19 and 18.
Exactly.
Homosexuality was, we're not talking about 2024 society and sexuality. We're talking about what, the 90s, 80s here?
The 90s. And
yeah.
then we're talking about a traveling pastor. Like Jakes was traveling all around the country. Like he wouldn't go to Pittsburgh like every single week, you know what I mean, to go see Duane. It's not like, you know, every week he was ministering in Pittsburgh. He was traveling all around the country, and you're willing to take care of someone for the rest of your life that you may only see like once a year. When you decide to come to Pittsburgh and you want this person to only have sex with you and you only, and no one else, so he doesn't give his wife anything. Like Jakes was going all around the country traveling. So it wasn't like he was hitting Pittsburgh every single week.
And that's another thing
Layer.
Is because my brain is going at a trillion miles an hour, a trillion miles an hour, because a rumors had brought up because I was thinking of two rumors. Remember, I don't know if you know, Duane, I mean, Will, there was about to be a lawsuit against Jakes, earlier this year by Prophet Manasseh Jordan, Bishop.
I'm aware.
Yes.
I'm aware.
And there were text messages that he released that showed what could be argued definitely a very subtle attempt to come on to to a Prophet Manasseh.
Okay, but look at Manasseh and look at Youngblood.
Because I'm bringing that up to say that from that we can extract Jake's style of doing things, which would look starkly contrasting to him taking a bold move like what Duane is. You got some feedback in your microphone.
Okay, I was laying down. Let me sit up again. Okay, I'm good.
Let me see. Okay, yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Because now we can kind of compare and contrast, because that's a very night and day act compared to Jake's like being more subtle in his attempt to come on to members of the same sex, versus this particular account by Duane that Jakes boldly caught his house in the broader daylight, asked his mother to speak to him, and then made a same-sex proposal to him in his home as an 18, 19-year-old boy, or 18, 19-year-old young man. Based upon what we have seen factually from Jakes, which is AKA those text messages from Prophet Manasseh, it would seem that Jakes tries to be a bit more of a smooth criminal when he's trying to squeeze in between the cracks. He's not the like overt get you, gotcha, your minds type of energy. Right. Tries to have a soft landing, tries to be subtle, tries to do innuendos, not necessarily a aggressive pursuing individual. Now that also doesn't mean that Jakes is not capable of that, but also what's not necessarily the case is that any of this is true just because Duane is alleging it. So all things can either be true or not true. We really don't know, because we're in a situation right now where we're having to take one person's word for another person's word, and there's yet to be any factual, objective vindication or corroboration on either side. I want to welcome Rumors and Tea to the platform. Hey, boo.
So, hey, Will.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm glad you just took like what I wanted to hit the link and say. Now, being someone from that, from the church circuit, having parents that were preachers, traveled up and down the road with evangelists, I can honestly tell you that it is not uncommon. It was definitely not uncommon back then. I think if there's any, like, I don't think that all that Duane has said is 100% accurate. Let me first by stating that. I do think there is truth, though, to some of what he was saying. It would not be far fetched for me to believe that Jakes
So can
was
you tell me
more.
what some of those things are so far rumors?
Yeah, I was just about to say it would not be far fetched for me to believe that Jakes was bold enough to call this man's house, his mother's home, and ask for him. And then after he had been rejected, I don't think that there was a direct rejection, because here's the thing, for whatever reason,
Uh-oh, it's feedback in your phone, Will.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
for whatever reasons back then, and even to today, but especially, well, you have to mute because it's giving me like echo vibes.
Feedback. Okay. I just go ahead.
Back then, parishioners were extremely devout to a point of oblivious. Like, they would intentionally ignore what the preachers, especially if you were popular. Jakes was, although his popularity has extremely grown, back then he was popular as hell still as just an evangelist. Um, and the fact that people would feel like, be so honored to have someone in their home that had a status like Jakes. I can see him being bold enough to make the advances that he made and not necessarily be as discreet, because there was no backlash when if he had tried to kiss Youngblood, and Youngblood did not go home, make an issue, like, tell his mom. There was no backlash or anything, and Jakes was able to pick up the phone and call. That was the sign right then and there. He did not hear anything. He called the mother. If this happened, the mother probably was, "Hey, Bishop," or, "Hey, Jakes, whatever," and just happy go lucky and pass the phone.
Of course.
That was the to go, that's the green light. Okay, he didn't say anything, so now, and he probably felt something from Youngblood. Clearly Youngblood, I don't know if he was struggling with his sexuality, because I don't even like that narrative, but clearly there was some type of discerning on Jake's part, if these allegations are true. But Youngblood had also, he did not just speak to experiences with Jakes. He said that he had several experiences with other preachers that allegedly tried to groom him and things of that nature. So I can say that, just like in any other circle, these people preach, they talk, okay? Yeah, I don't care what state you live in or whatever the case may be. Like, we know how, like, I don't want to say secret societies, but we know how it goes when it comes to certain circles. So I definitely feel like this man was in these circles, and he was definitely talked about. I can see, because I do know situations where I'm gonna just keep saying preachers instead of all the other titles. I know situations where preachers that are married, that lived in other states, and they literally had kept men. Now, I'm not even talking about the women, but they had kept men, literally. That when they came to town, they may see you maybe 3 or 4 times a year. But when they came to town, even if they brought their wives, even if they had other women there in town, that you knew you were, like their concubine. You were paid to be available. Sometimes those people would show up as pallbearers, and I don't know what other terms they would use, but 9 times out of 10 it would be a pallbearer, like, things like that. But there's also, like I said, some things that he said that just, I don't believe 100% of everything that he's saying. I do feel like he may be conflating other situations with some other preachers. And what I mean by that, the hot tub. I'm a little conflicted about the hot tub, like, because I know that back then, not to say it could not happen, but I do know that during the 80s and the 90s, preachers literally did not go to hotels and motels. Like in a general statement, like the majority of them, they did not do that. That just did not look good. It was frowned upon. It looked very salacious. Like the first thing that the parishioners would think, even whether you was in town, out of town, the first thing they would think is that you're in there for sexual activities. And that is something that was very, very widely spoke about within the church. If a preacher came to town and stayed at a hotel, the first that was the accusation. So I just feel like there's just some things that just does not necessarily, all the I's aren't dotted, all the T's aren't crossed. And I do feel like I can lean more towards that he's not lying completely. I do believe that there was some things that did transpire between him and Jakes. I do believe that. But
Okay, so
I honestly,
I'm glad you
I don't believe
unloaded.
all of it.
I'm glad you unloaded all that and spoke about kind of the secret homo bi pansexual boule within the church, particularly within the Black church, even though it's not exclusive to the Black church, but in the Black church, and how men of God would have their male lovers disguised in all type of ways as pallbearers, armor bearers, choir directors, etc., other preachers, other ministers, etc. Okay. Now, if something like this is not true, how in the hell does someone prove that even with all those things being the case, that this ain't their tea? This ain't what they did. This ain't the reality they lived in.
So here's the thing, right? I don't know, because maybe this is for the courts to find out as they do their what you call a discovery phase. It will be interesting to find out, what hotel were you at? It would be interesting. He'll probably say, I don't know all the dates and things of that nature. But if you're saying you were at a hotel or wherever he said the jacuzzi was at, where was this place at? I know people would think, oh, there wouldn't be any records or anything like that. But trust and believe there will be records. There may not be any financial, like we couldn't pull anything up on computers, but they would still have guest lists from, at least the 90s. They would, registry. But other than, like, you would literally have to have tangible proof.
Yeah, but
And I think that would be hard. I think it would be harder for Youngblood to prove than I think it would be for Jakes to prove his innocence.
Too, because somebody in the chat says that Jake got to know the defendant has to prove that Jakes did these things. So the burden of proof is going to be on Youngblood. It's not on Jake's hands. Like, Jake is the one being accused, and he's making Youngblood legally prove these things to in fact be true. Now, as you're saying about like what evidence can look like, etc., as Will was saying, the accusations in this case are very like vague and broad. They like, he tried to kiss me. There's no like objective. It's not this person is claiming SA, and they're not claiming grape. They're not claiming, these things. It's like these kind of circumstantial, weird, off-putting experiences, alleged phone calls, etc. Does anybody know, is Youngblood's mom alive? Could she attest to this phone call back in 81 or 85 or 84 or 90, whenever this was, when Jakes called the house? Can she talk about the way her son acted after he took this phone call? Would she even remember such an instance, since at that time, if he didn't tell his mom that this
That's what I
happened,
was going to say.
it might have
If he
been,
never, I was going to say that.
it could have been a memory that she didn't even store in her brain at all, because it wasn't about anything as far as she was concerned.
But that's what I was going to say. So that to your point and Will's point, there will really be, because he made such broad allegations, right? He didn't give like real depth detail, and I think that's because he really doesn't have any tangible proof. Even if it would, like, because he didn't tell his mother, to our knowledge. He did not, go around making a public service announcement to warn people, to speak. Like, he didn't do any of these things. So, you know, in this case, unfortunately, Jakes would have the upper hand. Now, unless there there are other um alleged victims that can speak and share their experiences, and then they can show a pattern,
And I
then
think
he
that
may.
may be where Jakes might have fucked up at, because Jakes might have opened up a can of worms, considering that there are men that are alleging that they've been a paid concubine of Jakes, that they have been his boy toys for X amount of years, etc. And they allegedly have proof of these interactions, etc. But at the same time, I'm also don't believe Jakes would have not considered that in filing this lawsuit. So he must also have a plan to navigate, I guess, whatever may bleed out as a result of this lawsuit, because lawsuits do this. They generate a bleed out. People start coming out of both sides. I wouldn't be surprised if on Youngblood's side, people come out beyond even the young men who took him to task legally for what he did to them. Even beyond them, there may be people that we don't know about that he abused. There may be young men who never came forward, who have had experiences like Will is up here, and he's had his own experience of Duane, and vice versa. The same thing could happen with Jakes. But now I'm curious to know how Jakes is going to navigate all of this, especially if there is a substance to the claims that he has his own harem of men that he rendezvous with outside of his religious title and marriage.
Yeah, there's a strong possibility, as you stated, without a shadow of a doubt, you're going to hear more about both of these individuals. I don't know if there's going to be a payout on Jake's side, allegedly, to silence some of the others, because I do find it quite interesting that Manasseh definitely was, he was putting out information that hinted, insinuated that Jakes was inappropriate with him in some form. And
And
then
yeah,
he was,
and he was in the process of filing a lawsuit.
and then all of a sudden we heard crickets. You know what I mean? Like, so I do believe that there may be some payouts. But I do think that I'm going to be very honest,
This is too
as
much.
I always am. I do really believe that it is going to be more of a snowball domino effect for Jakes. Um, I feel like I'm not going to dismiss Dwayne. I feel like he has his own cross to bear for the things that he's done. I do believe that there is a strong possibility that he was also in some way possibly victimized by Jakes. However, I just think it's going to be a bigger snowball effect for Jakes, considering Diddy situation and all of that. Um, I I think that performance yesterday was just that. I don't really like to speak that way when it comes to people's health, because I'm not a doctor. However, it just all seems very calculated, and how the last 2 days turn of events have rolled out. And I don't know. I think Will coming up here definitely shed even more light other than what we, you just read about Youngblood's charges and, well, not his charges, but his legal issues with him going, being convicted and things of that nature. But Will has established a pattern, a psyche. It's interesting how we see how people literally, if you have been a victim and you become a predator, how you literally transform into the very, take on the same psyche and the same, how do you say that, the same patterns as someone else, because it sounds like what he's accusing Jakes of doing is what he did with Will. And I think that's very interesting.
Yes.
And on that note, I'm going back down into the chat.
Okay, Boo, thank you for that rumor. So let's continue to get back to this lawsuit. And we'll continue to drop the link and let everybody come up to speak to what's going on. So after that phone call, the lawsuit goes on to say that Youngblood then went on to describe how he did not tell his mother what happened, but that she had made him go to church services that night where Bishop Jakes not only preached, but called up Youngblood to the pulpit to read for him. Okay, so then there would be people who can corroborate that. Youngblood ended his story by claiming that there is so much more to me and Bishop Jakes and my family and Bishop Jakes and the absolute destructive sexual damage, but this thing was so extremely damaging. Later on in the October 28th LRL episode, Youngblood described an encounter with Bishop Jakes where years later, he had to drive Bishop Jakes and his wife to a hotel after a conference. According to Youngblood, he accompanied Bishop Jakes and his wife back to the hotel room, and then after Mrs. Jakes went to sleep, Youngblood confronted Bishop Jakes and asked him, "Why did you do what you did?" To which Bishop Jakes responded, "My stock was rising and I would have had S3x with anybody at the time." Less than a week later, on November 3rd of 2024, Youngblood returned to LRL for part 2. Larry Reid Live interviews Duane Youngblood. The abused became the abuser. In part 2, Youngblood doubled down on the same false story, and this time he made sure that all of the LRL viewers knew what he was not just accusing Bishop Jakes of trying to begin a actual relationship with him, but rather that his story was one of actual abuse. When pressed by Reid to further describe how his allegation that Bishop Jakes violated, groomed him was predatory in nature, Youngblood made it clear that he was accusing Bishop Jakes of attempted actual assault. Quote, "When it comes to Bishop Jakes, when I was sharing the story the other day, I'm just running through the story, but I want to make sure people are very clear. I said we were sitting at a dining room table and I looked at my watch and said, I've got to get up and get out of here because I've got to get my mother's car back to her. But what may have been misunderstood is that Bishop Jakes got up, came around the table, and positioned himself in the corner that I had to walk past. When I was walking past that corner, he grabbed me. There is no reason, if you're going to just give me a hug as we're leaving, go to the door with me and let's hug it out and let me go out the door. We were not at the door. We were still in the dining room, and he is in the corner, grabbed me to himself, looked down into my face, and then tried to bend his head down to kiss me on my lips. This is not a you didn't get what you wanted to get." Youngblood then doubled down and described again the phone call he claimed he had with Jakes, just as he did in October 28th interview, stating in no uncertain terms to him that it's absolutely forcing your position, your idea onto that person. In part 2, Mr. Reid also makes clear exactly what Youngblood was accusing Bishop Jakes of doing, stating at the 39-minute mark that Bishop Jakes violated, groomed you. And Youngblood doubled down on his claim that Bishop Jakes did this to Youngblood because his stock was rising and he would have slept with anybody. For his part, Reid went to great lengths to try and bolster Youngblood's credibility, claiming in part 2 that Youngblood feels honest to Reid and that it doesn't feel that you're mad, and you don't seem mad at all, and you don't feel like you're trying to get anybody back. You just telling the story, to which Youngblood nods and agrees throughout. Which wouldn't be entirely true, since Youngblood sent a demand letter attempting to cipher money from Jakes as a result of what he's claiming. So it's not just a guy telling his story. It's not just a guy just being transparent. There was an alleged attempt at settling out of court as a result of an alleged pending lawsuit. Youngblood's intent and motive for making these allegations would be made absolutely clear with his exorbitant financial demands. Okay, here we go. Weeks later, as more fully elaborated herein below. Youngblood's accusations on Larry Reid Live about Bishop Jakes are false, and he knew it when he made them. From start to finish, Youngblood's tale of grooming and attempted sexual assault at the hands of Bishop Jakes is patently false. Bishop Jakes never kissed or tried to kiss Youngblood, never cornered him or forced him into a situation, sexual or otherwise, and certainly never told him that he wanted to sleep with him or had any conversation of a sexual nature at all with him. The interactions described by Youngblood during his LRL interviews on October 28th and November 3rd never happened, period. Indeed, the very context and nature of Youngblood's accusation rendered them unbelievable. Youngblood, having served years for molesting and actually assaulting minors that he himself was supposed to counsel and mentor through his church, is a desperate attempt to rehabilitate his image and build a new ministry for himself. His playbook is clear. Accuse what seems to be every other prominent church leader he has ever met of grooming and preying on him, and then blame them for his own criminal predatory conduct after he had finally released from prison as a two-time convicted felon and lifetime registered S3x offender. Indeed, his blatant lies to LRL's viewers about the circumstances of his own convictions and incarcerations are proof that this is all just one big lie to try and rewrite history for his own personal gain. Just as Youngblood hoped his October 28th and November 3rd appearances went viral, Part 1 has over 120,000 views, making it one of the most viewed LRL episodes in history, even though it has been posted for less than a month. And Part 2 has garnered over 25,000 views since it was posted on November 3rd. Moreover, clips featuring Youngblood's false story about Bishop Jakes posted to Larry Reid Live YouTube account attracted tens of thousands of more views. Larry Reid Live interviews were also posted to other Larry Reid Live social media accounts, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, as well as Larry Reid's website, LarryReidLive.com, where they tallied even more views. The spread of Youngblood's false accusations, as expected, did not stop with just Larry Reid's social media online platforms. Predictably and foreseeably, Youngblood's story went viral, being republished, reposted, and commented on by numerous other social media users and influencers. For example, Newsbreak, which boasts over 26 million monthly views, published at least 5 separate stories on Youngblood's accusations against Bishop Jakes, and Youngblood's false accusations were republished by other YouTubers and TikTok influencers to hundreds of thousands of additional viewers. All told, it's likely that over 1 million people have been exposed to Youngblood's lies about Bishop Jakes. Incredibly, the defendants' malicious efforts to smear Bishop Jakes' reputation was only part of the plan. Prototypically, of course, their motivation was also deeply rooted, and they use the word their motivation, was deeply rooted in immediate financial gain. Days after the second podcast on information and belief that defendants retained a lawyer in New York to represent Youngblood in a blatant attempt at a money grab. By letter dated November 15th. Okay, so this may be where we get the 16,000 from, y'all. Let's gear up here. On my birthday of this year, a lawyer purporting to represent Youngblood demanded that Bishop Jakes pay Youngblood. Okay, yeah. So 6 million, you guys, is in the lawsuit. That's where the number came from. So when Youngblood told Larry that he don't know where the article got that number from, they got it from the lawsuit. And if Jakes put it in his lawsuit, it means that Jake more than likely has proof of that. He would obviously have that demand letter. His attorneys would have that demand letter, etc. So I'm sure that demand letter is going to be presented at some point, more than likely during discovery as well. So we do have the 6 million, you guys, in the lawsuit. Dated November 15th, a lawyer purporting to represent Youngblood. Let me screenshot this actually. Represent Youngblood demanded that Bishop Jakes pay Youngblood $6 million in order to 6 million Bitcoins to resolve this matter quickly and privately. Otherwise, Youngblood would bring a lawsuit against Bishop Jakes for sexual assault and harassment. The motivation of the demand was clear: pay millions of dollars, otherwise the podcast strategy and other similar tactics of attempting to publicly harass and shame Bishop Jakes would continue. Fundamentally, federal criminal law punishes blackmail. Anyone who either demands or receives money or any other valuable thing under the threat of informing or as a consideration for not informing against any violation of U.S. law is committing a crime. Further, both the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and federal criminal law punish attempted extortion, such as the money grab, which is no different than an old-fashioned robbery attempt. Here, the selection of the attorney was part of the scheme because Youngblood needed to obtain counsel who was either familiar with or experienced in tactics to bring sexual assault claims decades old that have no merit and or have no relief under the law. For example, the same attorney, here we go, Mr. Blackburn, commits an action in California against a rapper, as I was telling y'all earlier, T.I. and his wife, Tiny Harris, accusing them of actually assaulting a woman in 2005. In August of 2024, U.S. District Court Judge Sherilyn Peace Garnick dismissed the lawsuit. The rapper stated that the allegations were false and were part of the many salacious allegations put forth in order to extort money from them. The same proverbial playbook is at work here against Bishop Jakes. However, Youngblood miscalculated Jakes' inclination to fight back. Youngblood spread knowingly false accusations about one of the most respected and prominent religious figures, and he did so for the most morally corrupt reasons: to rehabilitate his image, explain away his own criminal and horrific sexual conduct, and ultimately to profit significantly. The financial harm Youngblood knowingly false accusations have caused Bishop Jakes are monumental and devastating. That's probably why his ass was huffing and puffing on that damn stool. Bishop Jakes has been the spiritual rock for millions of Christians all over the world, particularly in the African-American community. Youngblood's viral allegations that Bishop Jakes groomed, prayed, and actually abused and assaulted him, then a young minister, have tarnished Bishop Jakes' reputation. Hundreds of thousands, if not more, have seen and heard Youngblood's accusations, and because of the lies Youngblood and his co-conspirators have told to bolster his credibility, those viewers are likely to believe Youngblood's false story. In addition to, and even more devastating than the millions of dollars in reputational harm Youngblood has caused, Youngblood's lies have put in jeopardy the critical philanthropic missions Bishop Jakes spearheads, and has likely impaired significantly the benefits that the recipients of such efforts receive. And Youngblood's intentional and malicious lies have taken a substantial emotional and physical toll on Bishop Jakes. On November 24th, the day before he filed this action, Bishop Jakes suffered a medical crisis, here we go, on stage in the middle of his Sunday service in front of his entire church. Bishop Jakes believes with all his heart that actual victims of sexual abuse should be treated with the utmost respect, kindness, empathy, and sympathy, and that true predators of such abuse should be held accountable for their actions. But that is not the case here. Youngblood has been used and abused the might of social media and the legal process to re-victimize those he preyed on and harmed, and to make knowingly false accusations for his own personal and financial gain. Men like Youngblood must be held accountable for their abuse of the system, for setting back those with legitimate and real allegations of sexual abuse. Bishop Jakes brings this lawsuit to hold men like Youngblood accountable for their shameful acts and to set the record straight. Bishop Jakes repeats, realleges, and incorporates the above paragraphs. We already like, okay, cool. Larry Live podcast includes the following specific statements. After sitting there, okay, he talks about the walk around the room and the kiss, talks about getting on the phone with him the day after. There is so much more to me and Bishop Jakes and my family and Bishop Jakes and the absolute destructive sexual damage, but this thing was so extremely damaging. These are all the statements that are slanderous and untrue, and that blatantly paint Jakes as a predator. In addition to general accusations of sexual abuse against Bishop Jakes, the November 3rd Larry Live broadcast also includes the following specific statements by Youngblood about Bishop. When it comes to Bishop Jakes, when I was sharing my story the other day, okay, we read that. That's he talks about clearing all that up. The 4 interviews were posted on Larry Live YouTube, blah, 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 blah. Clips of the interviews featuring Youngblood's accusations of grooming XA and other predatory conduct were also posted on Larry Live YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Youngblood statements on October 28th and November 3rd, episodes of Larry Live individually and taking a whole intended a convey were understood by viewers as conveying the factual accusations that Bishop Jakes groomed, actually abused, sexually assaulted, and engaged in predatory conduct of sexual nature with Youngblood. Youngblood statements on the October 28th and November 3rd episodes of Larry Live are false and defamatory. Youngblood statements on the October 23rd and November 3 episodes of Larry Live are libelous per se, in that they expose Bishop Jakes to contempt, ridicule, and obloquy tends to affect Bishop Jakes in his profession as a trusted pastor and religious figure, and accuses Bishop Jakes of engaging in unlawful conduct. Indeed, the accusations that Youngblood has made about Jakes. I just want to say something real quick there. So all of y'all who had accused Dr. Reid and Prophet Manasseh of taking a payout. I think Will had dropped down. I didn't even know he was gone. Will, if you're still there, I dropped the link for you in the chat. What's interesting is that, like, all of y'all who had accused Dr. Reid and Prophet Manasseh of taking a payout, I think this lawsuit just squashes that narrative. Because T.D. Jakes would not drop Larry Reid's name as many times as he's done. He would not imply that Larry is working in concert with Duane to spread false narratives. If T.D. Jakes is aware that Larry knows about his alleged proclivities with the same sex, etc., because Jakes would literally be throwing Larry, if there had been a backdoor deal made between Manasseh, Larry, and Jakes, he's throwing Larry directly into the fray to be able to corroborate that Jakes has been accused of these things prior and settled out of court, etc., blah, 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 that he has paid down men that accused him of similar things, that Duane, da, 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 da. And if that being the case, obviously this would be a piss poor strategy on Jakes' part. So I think that by T.D. Jakes dropping Larry's name, it actually dispels the notion that Larry and Manasseh were paid off in secret for this all to go away, because Larry would be able to bring all that forth in order to defend his name, etc., even though he's not necessarily being sued either. He's not listed as a co-defendant in this matter, etc. I do think that obviously with Duane moving through Larry's platform, I do think this is a attempt by Jakes as well to tell Larry to shut the fuck up and to back the fuck off, because he's right there close enough to also get that smoke from the Potter's house. So I do think there is an intentionality to some of the language in the lawsuit, like such as they working in concert, they have malicious intent, they are trying to bring me down, etc. And I think that's all a hint from the Potter's house to Larry to pipe down. But I just thought it was interesting that Jakes is trying to allude to Larry being malicious and vindictive, but there was this narrative when all the Manasseh stuff was going on that Larry had took an alleged payout. Well, obviously that could not have been the case, or else like this lawsuit would have never put its mouth on Larry's name, knowing what Larry could corroborate if he had backdoor dealings with Jakes and had worked alongside other individuals who have similar accusations but were willing to be compensated for their pain, their experience, their whatever, etc. So yeah, agreed. The level, okay. Let's continue to skim through this because we pretty much just got through the bulk of this. This is a 20-something page thing, though. Youngblood published his statements October, so let's get into the details. He was never groomed, actually. or preyed on in any way by Jakes. Youngblood statements were made with the reckless disregard of the truth. For example, Youngblood had financial and other motives to lie, as evidenced by his demand for millions of dollars. Okay, so this lawsuit is alleging that there is a demand letter. There are correspondences between Jake's party and Youngblood's party, and they can prove that this is a shakedown. They can prove that this was not a matter of Youngblood legally communicating his experience and what he was looking for as a resolve, but that there was an intentional extortion attempt. And I know, and look, there is a fine line between the two. Legally, yes, two parties can work privately and amicably to resolve a matter, right? And then present that to the courts, have the judge sign off, etc. Everything's good. That's very different, though, like this lawsuit is saying, from the type of language it is alluding to that was used in these demand letters. So there was a demand for this amount of money. There was the way that the verbiage was set up was that of blackmail and extortion. I don't know what type of attorney Youngblood had. Oh, he had Tyrone Blackburn. And once again, shit is real shitty because Blackburn is legally known for these type of legal unethical practices, and he's been literally called out by the courts themselves for doing this in other litigations. So this is right up Tyrone Blackburn's brand and pattern as an attorney. And one or two things could be true here. Either Youngblood lied to Larry about not knowing where this $6 million figure comes from, or because this is what Tyrone Blackburn does, who is old boy's attorney, the attorney is forging ahead, drawing up all of these write-ups and doing what he typically does, and some of that is unbeknownst to his client. So the client could be genuinely uninformed. Like, I don't know where the number comes from. I never agreed to $6 million. Tyrone Blackburn could be acting independently in this case. He could be moving along, not communicating how he should because he doesn't do things the right way. Okay? And those are the facts against Tyrone Blackburn. Once again, I did a whole show about Tyrone and Gloria Allred and her mammy and, you know, all of the bullshit that goes on with them in the courts and how many times they've done been sanctioned and penalized and just had to suffer penalty as a result of their legal buffoonery. Okay? However, I'm back in the chat. Thanks to people letting me up. Okay, well, if you want to, I'm going to drop the link because you're more than welcome to come back up if you want to. Share my story. I'm here for you. Need me. Okay. Will, do me a favor. Like, email me your number at gmail.com so that I can have a way to communicate with you and get in contact with you, like, intentionally. Okay? I just put my email in the chat. Please email me at Consciouztv@gmail.com so we can stay in contact, because this is definitely not over by far. This is about to get very interesting, okay? So, yes, so that's very interesting, all right? The lawsuit goes on. Rehabilitation. Youngblood is a convicted felon, S3x offender. Youngblood's claims are inherently improbable, in particular his claims about the follow-up conversations with Bishop Jakes. Youngblood's false and defamatory statements about Bishop Jakes were made in furtherance of and fit within the preconceived storyline Youngblood needed in order to rehabilitate his image as an S3x offender and felon and to demand and extract millions of dollars from Bishop Jakes. Youngblood was caught red-handed. And look, just like there's a conversation to be had about a secret homosexual boule in the church, etc., we also know that sex offenders also, yes, for obvious reasons, have every bit of a motivation to rehabilitate their image. Look at Kenneth Petty. How Kenneth Petty, Nicki Minaj's simp, tried to pull a reverse Uno on Jennifer Huff. He even tried to pull a reverse Uno on the courts and claimed that he wasn't informed about his registry and this, that, and the third. And then the courts, in his attempt to sue them, proved through discovery that he, in fact, was informed. He was actually at these court hearings. He actually agreed to the SA registry stipulations, the whole nine, bop. So that's what is interesting about this whole ordeal, right? Is that there's reality to, not per se was being alleged against Jakes, but like just the reality of the church. Like Rumors and T was saying, all that happens. But also, with the pendulum swinging, sex offenders also behave just like Youngblood in a attempt to restructure their social reputation, right? Because it's dangerous to walk around as an offender. It's dangerous for your crimes against children and young people to be factually available to any community and to all of the world from your I can email that picture too. Okay, a great will. Where was I? Yeah, to have the information factually available to your coworkers, your peers, your community members, etc. This can make life very dangerous for a registered SC offender. And so, of course, there's every incentive to want to retell the story, re-narrate things, be a revisionist historian, etc., so that you can lessen the potential social violence and backlash, you know, against your person. So, as far as I'm concerned, like, whether we're talking about it from the left or from the right, all things can be true. And this lawsuit, it looks like Jakes is going to, right now, I'm going to say team one for Jakes. They fucked around. He's being represented by Tyrone Blackburn, an overzealous ass attorney who is problematic in and of itself. And the way that they tried to mitigate things outside of the courts was according to Jake's lawsuit, in the air and energy of extortion and blackmail, which is illegal and criminal. Not only can Youngblood find himself very much so liable and there be in legal favor for Jakes, but Tyrone Blackburn could come under severe penalty, considering that he's already washed up in the court system to begin with. Hey, Will, welcome back to the chat. Can you hear me, Will? Will?
Yo,
Will?
hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hear me? Okay, great. I was making sure that
Yes,
you're
sir.
there. Okay, so I'm gonna skim through the rest of this and then okay, so Will done got lost again. Them Boost Mobiles, baby. It be them $50 plans, y'all. Okay, Youngblood has no applicable privilege or legal authorization to make these false and defamatory statements. As a direct and approximate result of the publication of his false and defamatory statements on October 28th and November 3rd, Bishop Jakes suffered substantial injury to his reputation. Youngblood's defamatory statements were accompanied with malice, wantonness, and a conscious desire to cause injury. Youngblood purposely made the defamatory statements heedlessly and with reckless and willful indifference to Bishop Jakes' rights. Bishop Jakes is therefore entitled to actual, presumed punitive, and other economic damages in an amount to be specifically determined at trial, baby. Bishop Jakes repeats, realleged, and incorporates the above paragraphs. Second claim for relief is civil conspiracy against all defendants. Youngblood and those acting in concert with him, i.e. the co-conspirators, worked together to publish and broadcast the false claim that Bishop Jakes groomed him and actually assaulted him. Knowing that making such false claims on a podcast reaches such a broad audience, to wit, co-conspirators, number one, falsely claimed in sum and substance during the podcast that Jakes had engaged in settlement discussions with Youngblood regarding his claims. Oh, wow. Because co-conspirator number one. So remember, the lawsuit said that it wasn't going to just drop. They weren't going to specifically identify the alleged co-conspirators, even though they did massive alluding to in the litigation, in the lawsuit filing. But obviously they're talking about Larry, and they said earlier on in the lawsuit that they would be willing to re-amend this lawsuit to involve Larry. But I wonder if they were going to do that, why they just didn't do that right out of the gate, unless there's some legal strategy here that I don't understand. But they also are alleging that co-conspirator one, which we can assume is Larry, and they did have some quotes from him listed in the lawsuit of him saying that, like, you were groomed by Jakes. I guess that's what this statement is saying. Falsely claimed in sum and substance. Baby, why everybody being sued, bitch? Like, this is just like lawsuit season. Like, everybody been going to jail and everybody been getting damn sued. Like, it's like a lawsuit. I guess this is a part of the age of Aquarius and all of this shit and the unveiling and the justice of it all and blah, 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 child. This is crazy. Such a broadcast of audience listeners would harm Bishop Jakes. To wit, co-conspirator number one falsely claimed in sum and substance during the podcast that Bishop Jakes had engaged in settlement discussions with Youngblood. So they're saying that that's not true. Once again, I haven't even listened to the interviews and stuff, so I don't know what Larry has said, but I'm assuming this is Larry who they're talking about. T.D. Jakes is saying that it's not true that Jakes had engaged in settlement discussions with Youngblood regarding his claims. On information and belief, the statement by co-conspirator number one was done intentionally in order to give credence and a patina of credibility to Youngblood's false statements, even though co-conspirator number one was aware that efforts by Bishop Jakes to pay Youngblood to avoid him making such statements were knowingly false. Oh my God, baby. So the lawsuit is calling Dr. Reid out for being a blatant liar and conspiring with Youngblood by corroborating things that aren't factually true. Obviously, with Jakes being the plaintiff, once again, the burden would be on the defendant side. But once again, Larry is also not listed as a defendant. So right now, there's nothing that Larry needs to legally do. Of course, he can, speak his truth, etc. But there's nothing that he is legally responsible for yet. Even though this lawsuit is alleging that they will circle the block on Dr. Reid. On information and belief, the statement by co-conspirator number one was done intentionally in order to give credence and patina. The first podcast occurred on October 28th, while Youngblood and his co-conspirators made false statements to harm Bishop Jakes in that podcast. On information and belief, that defendants aim to maximize their efforts by launching a second broadcast on November 3rd, meant to sharpen and clarify the false statements for maximum impact. For example, Youngblood in sum and substance attempted to more clearly target his false claim of XA against Bishop Jakes by stating in sum and substance that Jakes restrained him and forcibly kissed him, as opposed to the first podcast interview where Youngblood alleges that they embraced at the end of an hours-long, wide-ranging conversation about faith and parents. Due to Youngblood and his co-conspirators' defamatory acts, Bishop has suffered general and specific damages in the amount of to be established at trial. On information and belief, Youngblood alleges the defendants and each of them have committed defamatory acts and or furtherance of against Jakes as alleged above, which were willful and intentional and malicious, which subjects defendants and each of them to liability. Oh, okay. So it subjects Larry to liability. But once again, Larry is not listed as a co-defendant as of yet. But this lawsuit is giving, you know what it looks like to me? It sounds like Jakes really want all the smoke from Duane, but he's kind of pushing Larry's back up against the wall to make things right with him privately. I don't know whether he is attempting to appeal to Larry by letting it be known through this write-up that I could hold you legally responsible. You better get in my DMs. You better get my number. You better talk to my lawyers and figure out what you need to do. In order to make things right with me. It looks like T.D. Jakes is kind of petitioning Larry to maybe publicly apologize, take down the content, and to admit to lying. I think this is also strategy as well on Jake's part, because I think that Jake's also probably never forgot the Larry Prophet Manasseh thing against him. And I think what Jake's wants more than money from Larry, because obviously, like, Jake's don't need anybody's money. You know, he's a wealthy man himself. So this doesn't have to be about money for him. This is about vindication for Jake's. What he more than likely wants to do is he's trying to low-key intimidate Larry once again into avoiding a lawsuit by Jake's, since the lawsuit is saying that you also made slanderous, defamatory statements that I can hold you legally liable for. And a potential resolve is you admitting to lying on me, etc. And I think Jake's probably more than likely wants that from Larry so that he can get Larry to participate in discrediting his own brand. Because then it will potentially put the fire out as it relates to the credibility behind Larry's platform, even going ahead. It's a way for maybe Jake's and some of his peers who don't like Larry, because we know that Larry is looked at as a threat by mainstream Black church world, etc. girl, and they may be attempting to grab him by the balls to get him to participate in having to come forward and say, yes, because I don't want to be sued, bitch. I can retract my statements. The things that I said were not factually correct, etc. And then that establishes that everything coming from the Larry Reid Live platform always needs to be dealt with from a side, with a side eye and reasonable suspicion, since Jakes is more than likely going to attempt to use a hypothetical apology and retraction from Larry to kind of put a stain on the credibility of his platform. This is very interesting. I'm definitely going to talk to Dr. Reid tomorrow. Will, what do you think so far? Because right now, I think Jakes has a win against Duane right now, but this is early on. Yeah. I don't know what, I don't know what either got in their bag, but
I think it's going to be a win in the long term, because Duane has Duane has a story without any other witnesses to corroborate it. Yeah. The story sounds fishy, full of non-details, and the details that are there, they're just not worth anything. So I think it's going to be a win for Jakes in the long run. So I think he needs to turn tail and run, but at the same time, I think it's too late for him to do that because he's already about to be bound in litigation. So I think he should have just kept his mouth shut in the first place. But I think it's too late for him now.
Man, this is like, yeah. And then he's represented by a clown of an attorney. This ain't looking good for Blackburn at all.
It's not. No.
This ain't looking good at all. How do you think this is going to, so what do you think about Larry's part in all of this? What do you think Jakes is trying to accomplish? Or do you think Jake wants anything in particular from Larry?
I mean, I just think Larry was there just to platform Youngblood, not to get at Jakes or anything. It was just, Larry doing his normal journalism type story. I'm guessing that Youngblood came to him and said, I have a story to tell. I don't think Larry sought him out. I mean, I don't know either or, but I don't think that Larry has a dog in the fight. He was just trying to merely platform him. And I think more than anything, I think Larry should have vetted him just a little bit more. I don't think that he vetted him properly. I mean, before him getting on and just telling this story, but it's not Larry's fault at all. It's Youngblood's story. Youngblood's story just is a historian. And in the end, it's going to bite him in the ass financially and all types of situations. Then there's going to be a whole torrent of issues back in Pittsburgh. Again, a very large city, but a very small city at the same time, especially as far as like the Black church community is concerned. You know, if he thought that he couldn't show his face before, he really will not be able to show his face ever again. And I don't think that he properly thought that out before he decided to go ahead and put himself in this situation, even if it is true, which I don't think it is, but just saying that it is true, he just should have just kept his mouth shut. We're talking about a kiss here, and you're willing to risk public exposure.
Not even like a kiss, a attempted kiss.
Pardon?
I say, and not even a kiss, a attempt.
Right, exactly. And you're willing to put yourself back out there after time has already gone by, and people will never forget. But you're over there in Wilmerding trying to live your life, you know, and no one asks you to come. You know, no one asks you to do this, and you just go ahead and you insert yourself into a situation that you didn't have to, knowing that you have all this personal baggage and all these situations that you're dealing with that didn't have to come back to a head again, and you're willing to do that in order to destroy your life again. You may have to move out of Pittsburgh after this. You may have to move out of Pennsylvania after this. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
If TD Jakes gets a win out of this, and right now it's looking like he will, and if Duane ain't gonna fuck it up, it looks like Tyrone Blackburn is definitely gonna fuck this up for the both of them.
Wait, did you say Tyrone Blackburn?
Yeah, that's who's representing.
Wait a minute. Wait, isn't that the same guy? That's the same guy who represented him for his sex cases.
So I didn't know that.
If I'm not mistaken, that is the same lawyer. I think if you look on YouTube, I think whenever that sexual assault whenever sexual situations had gone down, that name sounds eerily familiar. I think Tyrone Blackburn was his representation at the time when he was going through his sexual situations. And it's on YouTube. All you have to do is put
I'm about to look it up on Google,
Young,
if that's his lawyer, it'll be
not Google, but in YouTube.
Yeah,
if you put Duane Youngblood in YouTube,
it'll pull up everything. Because I was reading articles in the earlier part of this live stream where there were statements made by the lawyer, but I don't believe that the articles I read listed the name of the lawyer. But I do know that Tyrone Blackburn is representing him in. I'm
thinking that's him.
It might be him. Let me see if I can go back. Tyrone Blackburn, S3x registry, because that's where I saw the comments from his alleged attorney. Okay, CBS News. Let me see if it lists his attorney. We had an interview. His lawyer, it refers to his lawyer, but doesn't drop the name. His lawyer said this. His lawyer said, oh, wait a minute. Let me see something. His lawyer now says he's cooperating. We had a 2-hour-long. Even so, the new charges are involuntary deviant. We were filed. His lawyer says his client will give statements. The specifics have not been revealed. The first case, a young man. Yeah, so it doesn't list. But unlike the last hearing, Wayford and a writer for the website Pimp Leonard shook hands today. Yes, no, he didn't. If Blackburn did represent him, he wasn't representing him in all of the cases. Other attorneys and those other in some of these cases. So I don't know, but I know he's representing him now. And Tyrone Blackburn is considered a clown in the legal system. He's been sanctioned 20 trillion times. He tried to represent Sabrina Peterson against T.I. and Tiny and got washed. He tried to represent Jennifer Huff in her litigation against Nicki Minaj and her husband Kenneth Petty.
Okay.
Tyrone picked up that case for Jennifer. I mean, it's just a mess. So this is already being up to a very bad start. It's feedback in your face.
It's over.
This is a mess. It's feedback in your phone, bro.
Pardon?
It's feedback in your phone.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not sitting up. Okay, I'm sitting up.
Yeah, sit up.
Yeah, I'm sitting up. It's
it's a mess, And yeah, it looks like
it's over.
it looks like I'm going to be very curious to know, because we're going to be keeping up with all of this. We are going to be keeping up with Duane's response to the lawsuit, obviously, because he has been served, I guess, and we're going to be looking at what he says in his defense. They are going to have an opportunity to go through discovery, which both parties to be able to provide the necessary evidence to support their claims. So they're going to be like audio files and all that downloaded on Jake's side from the interviews that Duane did on Larry's podcast. There's going to be his mugshots, his criminal arrest record, all of that shit's going to be provided. And then that'll be the opportunity for Youngblood to then try to produce whatever evidence he can in support of his claims, with him already coming in this as a 2-time convicted felon who is a registered S3x offender, who has who's coming in already seen as morally corrupt and criminally corrupt. That also gives Jakes an entire leg up in this whole thing as well.
Yes. I also don't think that we will hear from him publicly ever again, as far as being on any platform. I think he's finally he realizes what he did, even though it is entirely too late. I don't think you couldn't pry him with $6 million to get back on the public platform to talk about this again. I think, who's
gonna pay you out $6 million fucking dollars when you have no text, no pictures, no witnesses, no nothing, and you're talking about a attempt at a hug and an attempt at a kiss and a phone call that only you and Jakes can corroborate, and there's no tangibles in here. Why the fuck would Jakes have settled with you out of court? Unless he just thought that TD Jakes is so gun-ho about keeping his reputation free from the shenanigans that Jakes would have leaned in and paid him off millions of dollars for this to never, hit the fan. That must have been what
but for some unsubstantiated, story with no proof, no witnesses, no nothing, just a kiss. You have nothing to work. You have nothing to work with. Blackburn is an idiot for even trying to take this on, because he has nothing. He has nothing that he can go with, and I don't think Duane has anything under his hat.
Tyrone Blackburn was going so hard behind the scenes, because there is no go hard in the actual case. So Tyrone Blackburn trying to really put on it, we're trying to lay it on thick. In all these demand letters, allegedly. This is a mess. Wow.
You're literally just, but I'm sure he's getting paid for it. So as long as he's getting paid, he's going to represent. But
Tyrone, but to your point, if old boy is broke and don't have no money because he's not employable and this is a money grab to begin with, then more than likely Tyrone is representing old boy pro bono, which is what Tyrone Blackburn does. He literally takes on cases that are high profile in nature, so that he's a dumbass based upon litigating for clients against high profile individuals. So he would represent this man pro bono for the second clap.
Okay, well, he's a dumbass, and I'm just saying that. Why he's you're
thought out on Blackburn's part at all. On Youngblood's part at all, this was not well thought out.
Right. It's just going to be bad, and I see even worse repercussions coming down the road for Youngblood. Especially in Pittsburgh. Again, like I said, for the 15th time, even though it's a big city, it's a small town, especially, like I said before, in the Black church community. Everybody goes to each other's churches on Sunday for afternoon service and chicken fries and all that stuff. Everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
My father was in the ministry. My dad is very well known in Pittsburgh. He died a few years ago. But, my dad is very well known in the Pittsburgh area and around the country and the world as well. But you know, as far as like Pittsburgh is concerned, once you're known in Pittsburgh, you're known, and he's known for the wrong reasons, and he's putting himself at risk. And Wilmerding isn't too far from Pittsburgh. Wilmerding is just literally a stone's throw away from downtown Pittsburgh. Like, he's not like 20, 30 miles outside of Pittsburgh. He's literally in a small little bumpkin town within a stone's throw of Pittsburgh. If he can be found, he's not somewhere secluded out in the country somewhere where, you know, he might be able to find peace. Everybody knows where Wilmerding is. So he's opening himself up to a whole bunch of trouble, and it's too late now. It's too late.
Oh yeah, no. Now like Jakes is about to make Youngblood make it real.
Yes.
And there's about to be some serious, like, if he thought he was broke, if he thought his ass, if he thought his life was toe up, like, somebody suing you could bring you into major financial ruins. I mean, if he doesn't have the wherewithal to really litigate, I mean, even if he might be represented pro bono, that may alleviate some of the legal costs. However, if the judge renders a verdict favorable to Jake's side, like, Jakes could garnish whatever the fuck, like, this man has. He could extract any property, any belongings. He could garnish his wages until this exceeded amount of money that Jakes may be awarded with is paid up. I mean, we already see Trasher KO's 4.1 Mexican pesos to Cardi B ass. She'll be paying that debt down for the rest of her damn life. I mean, this is a mess.
He literally, if you look him up on the registry, it'll tell you exactly where he lives and the two piece of crap car that he drives. Look at his address. You can go on Zillow and find out that property that he lives in is literally like $54,000, and add his two cars together, that's not even covering the price of the lawyer. So he's screwed.
Youngblood would be better off going over to Bali where Russell Simmons ass is and getting outside of the jurisdiction. And
how you gonna get there? He broke. How you gonna get there? He broke.
And I don't even think he can do that if his ass is on probation.
Right. He can't go. That's the whole thing.
He's probably banned. He's probably banned in other countries, actually.
Right. You can't even leave the state. So you're literally putting yourself in a situation where you're trapped. You're trapped mentally. You're trapped physically, and you're gonna be trapped financially. You know, you can't run away to a different state because you're not allowed to run away to a different state. So, you know, he's trapped in so many ways.
High mental ability says that the cloud is useless. No, it's not useless. It's obviously still working, high mental abilities, for Tyrone, because he's still here in current time representing yet another person against a high profile individual. Because the problem with a lot of the everyday citizens that end up in litigations with high profile entities is that a lot of civilians don't do their research. They just see these people, and the first thing that appeals to them is, oh, you want to represent me pro bono, for one. So that's automatically a yes, I'll take you on, you know, as my attorney. But for two, they then just probably get this like superficial rundown of all the clients that attorney has represented, and what that attorney doesn't tell the clients is how he's lost a lot of the cases he represented. But he probably stops at just telling you the name. Oh yeah, I represented Beyonce, I represented Oprah, I represented T.I., I represented I litigated against, and then he doesn't tell the whole story. And then if you're not somebody who knows to do any you know, backstory on your attorney and to do any vetting, and you don't really have any real experience in this area, you can end up bamboozled into the hands of a sham attorney, like a lot of people have. It's taught from the flow up. Damn, I can't believe this. You know, so funny. So I just, yeah, like, now that, going back to your earlier sentiments, Will, like, I can't believe that he thought these allegations were going to work. Like, if you were going to lie, you need to tell the lies of all lies. Like, if you, like if you gonna do it, you got to really. I can't believe that he really thought I'm gonna fake try to litigate against this pastor, this powerful man, this wealthy man, under the guise of you attempted to kiss me as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and then kind of change your story, I guess, later on and say, well, I might have been. Okay, so which one is it? Were you 17? Were you 18? Were you 19? But in all those instances, you were considered a legal adult who could consent to sex, because the age of consent in most states is 16.
It's 16 or 17.
In some states or whatever. But however, it's just like, girl, I got a headache.
In most states, if it's not 16, it's 17. Because 18, you're definitely legal. So it's either 16 or 17.
Age of consent in Pennsylvania. 16 and older. People ages 16 and older can legally consent to sexual activity with anyone they choose.
You're screwed. You're screwed.
Wait, but it says as long as the other person does not have authority over them as defined in Pennsylvania institutional sexual assault statute. So I don't know what that means. That means like a legal guardian, like they can't commit incest, obviously.
Right.
Things of that sort. But yeah, I mean, other than that, okay, it says Pennsylvania recognizes the power imbalances in certain relationships. So like it can't be a teacher or coach. It can't be a personal care group, home provider, or other licensed residential facility serving youth, state or county. Okay, yeah. So
all those which don't apply to him. So again, he's screwed. This was not well thought of at all. You can literally it reeks of a cash grab. You didn't think of anything. You just thought you could throw your hat into the ring and TD would just be so overwhelmed by so many other lawsuits and stuff going on. I'm just gonna go ahead and pay off this guy too. Someone who I probably don't even remember. Silence.
This is right. Hey,
what do you say? What do you say? What do you say at this point?
In the words of
it looks so janky.
In the words of a precious mama, you's a dummy, bitch. You's a dummy. Now you done got your ass into a $6 million litigation.
Right.
TD Jakes can pay you. How the hell you gonna pay him if you found guilty?
Right, and then you're risking public exposure again, because this will not only hit social media, this will hit news stations. This, you're opening yourself up to so much. But like I said, me knowing him for a small bit of time on a personal level, this is the type of stuff that he'll do. Like he will call your mother and tell your mother or your mother's friend that you gave him an STD after you no longer wanted to be bothered with him because you saw his wife's picture on his desk at church after he turned around in his office chair, butt ass naked in the house of God. Like this is all part of his personal makeup. This is him. This is the same person that will make up a lawsuit without proper information, without information that sounds credible, without information that doesn't even pique the interest of the general public. It's just like, okay, just not very well thought of.
Well, I mean, it piqued the interest allegedly because there's a lawsuit alleging that there has been reputational harm as a result of thousands of views on videos about something that's not true.
People love to see and hear a shit show. We're not, the people that watch it, they're not saying, "Hey, I believe you." A lot of these people were watching Larry to hear the shit show go on. A lot of people came away from that interview. If you look at the comments, an overwhelming majority of people did not believe this man, but they're here for it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I don't believe it, but people love to see a good train wreck, and they're like, okay, I'm here for the train wreck. I don't believe you, but I'm here for the repercussions you're about to face. I'm here to see you get smacked up against the wall. I'm here to see you fall.
What happens? Yeah,
I'm here for it. Yeah.
real life
I
movie.
don't, yeah, I don't wish nothing bad on him, but guess what? I'm here for it too.
Oh my God. Will, you are going to have to email me your phone number or
I
put it in the
will.
chat.
I will.
So I can contact you, because I would love to bring you back up as this all plays out, because
I will.
obviously that this is about to be a hell of a show that's
I
about to
will.
take place between Youngblood and Jake. So whenever there's updates in the case and everything, I would love to be able to bring you up, and and we correspond about what's going on as
Absolutely.
things play out. What would you say to I mean, what would you say to Youngblood at this point? Because I'm sure he's going to come across this live. I'm sure someone sent it to him somewhere.
I really give me two. I don't know what to say to him. You're reaping what you're sowing. That's all. All these years of reaping and wreaking havoc upon Pittsburgh and the youth and the church members. You wreaked havoc on church members, their family, their children, your family, your wife, your children, her family, your family, and you're still going at it. You're still going at it. Like those are traits of a narcissist, first of all, and then of a psychopath for second. And he did strike me as a narcissist, and definitely struck me as a psychopath. He had psychopathic eyes. He's not going to stop. But this will stop him in his tracks. This will stop him. So I mean, I don't have anything other to say than good luck, because you're going to need it. And you're fucked.
Because here's the thing, right? This has to be definitely, I mean, it more than likely is a money grab, and I think it's worth noting that Duane Youngblood has said that he's been through various forms of exploitation and abuse by other religious figures. So then why are you only suing Jakes, whose case you have against him is very weak, since everything is attempted and nothing really happened, and the things that did happen are like for the religious figures in your life that actually physically violated you, SA'd you, molested you, since he said, he's come from a long line of abuse, and that Jakes is one of many, then why aren't there also lawsuits?
But none of this was brought up in None of this was brought up in litigation when he was going to court for all the sexual stuff he did to other people. None of that. You can go and get court records. None of that was brought up in the record. If he was trying to plead his case in order to get leniency on himself, he would have said, "Hey, they did it to me too. So and so did it to me. So and so did it to me." None of that is on court record. So now it's convenient when someone that has money did it to you, you're going to bring them up. But when you were going to court, and you were trying to get the judge to be lenient on you, that would have been the perfect situation to say, "Hey, I've been a victim as well." And you didn't have to drop names, but you could say, "Hey, I was a victim as well by other men of authority that, used their ministry in order to sexually molest me as well." And that is not on the court record at all. Not. So no.
I asked a question earlier, like, how does, if you find yourself met with these accusations and they're not true, how do you defend yourself? I just answered my own question. You sue the person, because the lawsuit forces people to make their shit real. Right. And they have to come up with objectives. They have to really pull the story out of the realm of imagination into actual reality. They have to produce either empirical evidence, or they have to produce circumstantial evidence, and they have to make it real. And if the person is lying, they're not going to be able to do that. They're
talking about something.
They're fail at making their plight 3D.
Right. You're literally talking about a situation that happened more than 30 years ago, where there weren't phones to capture pictures, or we're literally talking about this was before technology even took hold. Like Literally, like that's when people used to write phone numbers down on a piece of paper. We're talking about pagers and that type of situation. There is no proof to be found. I mean, we need a Polaroid. We need we need something. You can't even produce a Polaroid. So it's literally your word, the word of a 2-time convicted child molester. I'm gonna believe you over TD Jakes. Even though TD Jakes has all these other situations up against him, they're still gonna believe TD over this man who's been knowingly convicted of heinous.
Come in with no credibility.
Right. You have no credibility. Even if it was true.
And then his claim doesn't make, because let's say, right, like if the age of consent is 18 and 19, unfortunately, it means that he doesn't even have a legal claim against Jake calling him and propositioning him, because it's also not illegal to shoot your shot. It's not illegal to court someone. It's not illegal to come on to someone. It's not illegal to do that. I mean, you cannot like it. Now, if it's persistent, I don't know what the law would consider persistence to be, where they would consider that to be 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, 6 times, etc. But considering that, because, okay, so let's line this up legally, Will, because you're saying attempted grooming. Okay, attempted grooming would have to be measured by consistent proximity and experience of this person and them attempting to da-da-da. Now, he does list some instances, such as the phone call and the alleged like personal sit down at the table and all of that, etc. But it's interesting that, right, how can your legal claim be, well, this was unwanted sexual advancement, but you never really factually rejected Jakes either. When he leaned out to kiss you, you simply didn't reciprocate, but you allowed him to hug you and embrace you. You didn't da-da-da. Now, he does say, I guess later on, that he tried to confront him or whatever. But then the phone call happens the next day.
Right. If you didn't want the advances, you would not accept the phone call.
Like, what was his response? Did anybody ask him what his response was after the phone call? Like, what did he say to Jakes on the phone? Like, no. Did he just listen and hang up? Like, what was the conclusion?
Right. You
didn't objectively object to anything. So yeah, this is, yeah, he has a very, very, legally, he's got a lot of issues. And once again, him coming in already toe up and with a criminal record and a sex offender, there's already going to be a legal bias against him. I mean, he's really trained wreck. This is actually really embarrassing on Youngblood's part. This is like really, really embarrassing. I don't know why he would do this unless he was that down for cash. And let's say that the things he's saying against Jakes are actually true as well. It's just like, because they're so vague, sir, you were not going to get $6 million to suppress this. You were not going to get $6 million from Jakes to suppress a story about how he attempted to kiss you one time, and then he attempted to proposition you during a phone call the next day. Like, I got a headache. My head is
think about the headache he's going to have. An undue headache.
Well,
we're sitting here having
a preventable headache.
Right.
Like, this headache could have been fucking prevented.
Right.
Because the fuck, like, you got to defend being a sex offender. You got to defend all the stuff that Jake's team they're going to slam his. I mean, he couldn't have come into a legal fight with a man of wealth and a man, as we all saying, yeah, there may be accusations floating against Jakes, but there's no objective verdicts rendered against him. Right. Nothing has been factually proven about Jakes on a legal level, and hardly even on a social level. So, like,
conscious. Just literally, just the way the legal terms. I mean, of course, all lawyers do the same legal jargon on on those on that paperwork. But that legal jargon was literally scaring the shit out of me. Like reading all that legal stuff, basically about the case that's going to be against him. That was enough to scare the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Just listening to that legal jargon was scary. Like, and you don't know how to back down. You're going to back down now. You're going to back down now.
So this is the thing, you guys, like, because I see people saying that him and his attorney might get sanctioned. This is the thing. They never filed the lawsuit. They only sent a demand letter regarding a potential filing of a suit. Jakes is the one.
I'm sorry, was it a cease and desist or?
No.
Okay.
Youngblood and his attorney Blackburn sent a demand letter to Jake's team talking about a hypothetical lawsuit that wouldn't happen if Jakes gave them this amount of money outside of courts. What Jakes then did is say fuck you and actually file a defamation lawsuit against him in return for what he was trying to do on the back end, and then all of the interviews he did with Larry. Socially.
I got you.
Now he had a real case. So I'm just speaking to the chat who's saying that a Blackburn and Youngblood could get, don't it sound like the Bloods and the damn Crips could get sanctioned? They can't get sanctioned for a lawsuit that hadn't been filed. They never filed a lawsuit. They just threatened Jakes with one and sent demand letters wanting money to not go forward in a lawsuit that could bring professional and reputational harm to Jakes, etc. So not saying, but Blackburn could be open to sanctions, period, because the lawsuit is alleging that even in the demand letter attempt to get money, that was actually extortion and blackmail, which are felonies. So Blackburn can still end up in a world of legal trouble. Once again, he's already been sanctioned for this type of behavior before, so he's continuing on in brand in this litigation. So yes, Blackburn could still be open to
those are sanctionable actions. Those are sanctionable actions.
Because if I was Jakes, I would have listed Tyrone Blackburn and Youngblood as co-defendants. I would be suing Youngblood and his attorney Blackburn.
Yes.
Equally. Yes. Because it's Tyrone Blackburn who's, I mean, like he got all this smoke for Larry in the lawsuit, but it's like it's Tyrone Blackburn who is harassing you behind the scenes and sending these demand letters and asking $6 million of you and attempting to blackmail you.
Yes.
So why? But the lawsuit did say that it was open to re-amending it. That re-amending could include Tyrone. It might even include Larry, unfortunately. But I think that Jakes is dropping Larry's name because he would prefer Larry to just admit he lied publicly, so that Larry is no longer seen as a credible content.
I mean, Larry more like, of course, Larry is not going to be subject to, legal action or suing. He just was literally providing a platform.
No. The lawsuit literally said that he is, and it gave specific quotes from Larry, where Larry is talking factually, saying, no, he did groom you, etc. We can hold you liable as well for defamation. And
I was not aware.
Yeah, and they reference shot. Trust me, I had to pay big attention reading that shit. So yeah, but here's the thing. But because they did not list Larry as a co-defendant, that's what makes me believe they don't want necessarily to litigate with Larry. What they prefer is for Larry to reach out privately to Jake's team.
Yes.
And to adhere to a stipulation that if you take that content down, remove those videos, and you make a public statement acknowledging that you factually lied on me, that I tried to settle out of court on the back end with, and see here's where Larry might have fucked up. I'm not going to know though until I talk to Larry.
Yeah.
Because Youngblood could have been lying to Larry. Larry may not have known what was happening. Blackburn, in order to keep Larry, I mean, not Blackburn, Youngblood trying to keep Larry close as an ally, might have been telling Larry what he thought Larry wanted to hear in order to keep him close. Like, yeah, Jake's trying to settle with me out of court. He calling my lawyer. They're trying to, and none of that might have even been true. That was just a way to be very excited about the case and to keep Larry close and keeping him under the belief that he was really being an ally to Youngblood when Youngblood was more than likely using the fuck out of Larry as well.
Right.
Using him and playing him for his own, because this is a mass manipulator. Like, Youngblood is a mass manipulator. This man literally used the guise of being a spiritual leader in order to lure minors into proximity to violate them. You guys really think about how demonstrative of a nature someone is to do that, and how just emotionally, mentally violent and corrupted you have to be at your fucking core to weaponize God, to take advantage of the innocence of young people. Like, that, literally, it doesn't get no more fucked up as a person than that.
And that's Youngblood.
And that's Youngblood.
That's Youngblood. That's literally Youngblood's makeup. We're talking about just court facts. The court facts make him, the facts of his legal situation as far as him going to court for messing with minors. Just those facts alone make him look bad already. And then corroborating that with people such as myself who had personal situations with him, none of this looks good. It just all contributes to the makeup, which is Duane Youngblood.
Yeah.
This is what he's made of. He's a very, like I said, he looks sneaky. Whenever he told me that he's a pastor, I literally was like, what? His eyes were very shifty and very he had very snake oil salesman type personality about him, not someone who you would think of as a man of God, He's very slick. You don't put slick together with man of God, And me being in, having a father in the ministry and having a popular father in the ministry, I was around a whole bunch of people in the ministry, and there were a lot of people that were just like him, just people who literally used the guise of God and church and everything, and they literally were like slicksters. Not saying they were out molesting children or anything, but they had that type of slick mentality, that fleecing of the flock mentality, that I'm going to come up, I'm a former drug dealer, or I'm a former thug, and now I went to jail and now I came out and I'm going to use God as a new hustle type situation.
Yeah. Wow. This is crazy as fuck, man. If I would have known all this prior, I would have had the necessary conversations with Dr. Reid to forewarn him about Youngblood, because I know also how Dr. Reid is. I know how gullible he is. I know his own experiences of being abused, etc. So he would naturally be oriented toward advocating for someone who's been through these experiences. But there's so many terrible bloodshot red flags when it comes to Youngblood. And his story itself was not strong enough to be presented to the public. It just wasn't.
But I think that from what I heard, I think Youngblood knows Larry on a personal level. So I think Larry was trying to look at things objectively, being that was someone that he's already known as a quote unquote friend, or this wasn't someone who he decided to platform that he didn't know. This is someone who he had some type of prior interactions with on a friendly level. So I think Larry wasn't being stupid or being jaded. I think he was trying to look at it objectively and trying to platform someone.
There is no objective here. We have a registered ex-offender who has abused multiple young people, who is coming forward 20,000 years later with a very bizarre, subjective, odd account of his few lived experiences with T.D. Jakes that does not and this is all coming from somebody who has no credibility. And I don't I look, like I said, I don't know how much Larry was actually like made Youngblood produce factually, because I'm just like, okay, because I did hear the part of Pam's interview with Larry when Larry said he texted Youngblood and Youngblood claimed he didn't know anything about the 6 million, but the 6 million came from the lawsuit, and the lawsuit alleges that the 6 million is what's established in the demand letters. So how don't know? You know, like he's either lying to Larry or Tyrone Blackburn is doing a lot of things outside of his knowledge as it relates to trying to extract this money from
or both. I mean, one thing we know for a fact that.
And here's another thing, right? As a content creator, I know Larry is smarter than us. Larry is like the king. So I'm like, even if you know Youngblood personally, still yet, like the story about TD Jakes is something separate from the friendship. So fuck the friendship. Like, I still got to look at the story objectively, and there ain't no objective in the story. This man doesn't have anything to back up his claims. So,
but those are questions you have to ask for me.
You have to entertain the idea of what the fuck this would look like if Jake strike back against a claim that's practically baseless. It's just this man saying that he received a phone call that Jakes attempted to kiss him, that he confronted Jakes at some point, and Jakes said something about a stock and desperate, and I would have did anything or whatever it may be. But it's just like, okay, once again, you don't have any factual proof that those things happen. I'm just not. It wasn't. I don't know if it was smart on Larry's part to do the story. Yeah, to hear it and to be a friend to Youngblood, and for Youngblood to confide in him is one thing.
Yeah,
he can be a friend. He can show his private support. He can be, you know, I hate that you went through that. I hate that. But to bring it here required another level of vetting, because we're bringing it here, and here it can have consequences. And now we got consequences because Youngblood is being sued. Larry is being listed as a co-defender. He's being threatened with litigation in as well. He's made statements that Jakes is saying, you know, he could hold Larry liable for, and now it's just toe up. And then but like I said before, if you remember, that's what I said about the vetting situation. That's what I said. I said vetting. I don't think that Larry vetted him properly. I used that word, not even 20 minutes. Vetting, like, you're a social media personality, you're a journalist, you're a smart guy. Those are questions. I hate Larry God. This was, and I'm surprised Larry didn't think, but sometimes Larry don't think, and Larry has publicly said sometimes he can just be aloof and dot. But yeah, a lot of people, like, obviously, like, Larry didn't bet him enough, and maybe to your point, it's because there's a personal relationship there, then it just got conflated. Like
that still doesn't account for the mishandling of the story. Whether you're friends or not, you still have to be a journalist, and you still have to vet every single person, that comes on your platform, whether you're friends or not, because this is the type of situation that arises from.
And Larry, he's been through this, like, he's made his fair share of mistakes with his platform, etc. That's why I kind of can't believe that he allowed this man to. It's not really the problem of allowing Youngblood to have a platform, but I think it's because Larry participated in a conversation in the way he did with Youngblood publicly. Now he's opened himself up to legal consequences.
I think that he believed that Youngblood story was credible because Jakes already had these type of stories already.
Yeah.
So he just
Pattern, and there is already aware of that.
right. So I think that's where his aloofness came about.
You can't forget that the person who claimed it, they also have an experience, is an abuser, and is not so much as redeemed, because how can he be redeemed if y'all first interact, if the first time you were made aware of this was him calling you from jail? So
extremely irresponsible.
I'm just so confused about it.
I am too. I am too, bro.
It's a lot going on. This is just toe up. It's toe up. Toe up, Will. This is some toe up shit, child. I'm gonna talk to to Dr. Reid in the morning, though. I'm gonna talk to him because I don't, like I said, I didn't follow this whole story to begin with. Like, this is just, I'm kind of burnt out with expose stories on people.
Right.
So, you know, I was just really checked out when it comes to the stuff, and nothing had really became objective around Jakes, even with the whole Diddy stuff. It's just a bunch of like yabba dabba doing, but there's no real substance to anything. There's nothing really happening. So I'm just kind of like over Jakes and the rumors until something becomes more black and white and fixated. So yeah, I had no idea all this was transpiring. I just learned about all this stuff with Youngblood and him being a registered sex offender and all tonight. I learned it in real time with y'all. So very wild. Very wild. But thank you for coming up here, Will. Your story is just, once again, you know, hell, Jakes might call you in as a damn witness,
I'm here for it.
Because you know you have your own experience where you can attest to this man. So Jake already coming in here with witnesses. He already coming in here with people who, you know, can attest to their own experiences with Mr. Youngblood. And once again, I have to say that all things said here today about Youngblood, etc., are allegedly as it relates to Will's account. But Will gave what he's alleging is his personal experience of Mr. Youngblood. So please email me your phone number so we can be in touch, so I can bring you up. We can talk and follow the story out from this point forward. I really appreciate you trusting the platform. I had somebody kept telling me to go live tonight. I'm so glad that I did, because obviously you ended up here.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna jump off here. If you're still gonna be on live, I'm gonna jump back on YouTube, and I'll go ahead and send you all the information promptly. But if you're still gonna be live, I'm just gonna jump off of StreamYard, get back on YouTube, and send you information.
I'm in a closed shop. I probably won't come. I'll be back probably later today. But after you leave, I'm gonna show up. So you just email me, and we'll care from there.
I will, and thank you so much for the opportunity tonight. I'll be in touch with you very shortly.
Okay, man. I appreciate it.
All right, bro. Thanks so much.
Thank you. That was Will, you guys. Will Callaway. These content creators, baby. We come into, you know, you just never know, baby, who watching. You never know who is in the building. Once again, that was Will Callaway, who alleges that when he was in his early 20s, he ended up romantically and sexually linked to Mr. Youngblood, who pretty much had a transactional relationship with him, paid him for sex, and he learned that at some point in their relationship dealings that Youngblood was actually cheating on his wife. Youngblood allegedly lied on this man when Will cut off their relationship. He tried to claim to Will's family that he had been given a STD by Will, etc., girl, and then kaboom, all this other fuckery and buffoonery, child. This is a mess. Man, this is a fucking mess. This is crazy. I'm shook, y'all. I learned all this. I pretty much got a crash course in what's been going on apparently for the past week or two. So I had no idea. I literally had no idea. I had no idea that Youngblood was a that Tyrone Blackburn. It's like everything about the situation is so extreme and weird. You know, everything is like wrong. It's just so many, like, it's so This is just literally, but y'all, my head fucking hurts. I have a headache. This was a lot, y'all. Oh God, this was right. Rumors. I am literally mentally fatigued right now. I feel like I just got taken on a I was like held hostage passenger seat by a crazy maniac driving at 160 miles a fucking hour with the windows rolled up with like marijuana and loud, like just filling up the fucking windows, like just thrown into the craziness of it all and not knowing what the hell was about to come next. You know, as we were running through red lights and stoplights and just like this is literally too much. This is too much leading light. It's too much. This was truly blind. Right. This is fucking crazy. Yeah, Daz, I agree. If people don't like the church, that is fine, but you can't make a man wear a jacket that's not his. And yes, Jake should sue. Right, it was so much, but there's more. Oh my fuck, baby. That's why y'all gotta tune in, baby. Y'all gotta be here. Y'all don't know what the hell gonna transpire, girl. I'm gonna have to do this title over, girl. This is just crazy as hell. Y'all already know. Please thumbs up the video, child. I worked my ass off tonight. Tea on Top of Tea. I'll be up in a few. I'm about to go in and edit some things. So Tea on Top of Tea, for those of you who missed it, it'll be up. I'll probably re-premiere it tomorrow for those who didn't get to see the show, so that we can get that back into the algorithm. You guys already know, honey, if you appreciate the show, please subscribe if you're new here. Thumbs up the video on your way out. And please donate to the show and show the king some love on Cash App, spelled just how it is here, $Consciouztv, and or paypal.me/Consciouztv. Subscribe to the Patreon, all that good stuff, honey. I love you all. I will see y'all all later. I'm about to go lay my brain down, bitch. I'm about to go lay the brain down. Love y'all.